one team to succeed, it takes the contributions of many players under many circumstances. The 2000 season began in dramatic fashion as Benny Agbayani gave the Mets an improbable victory with a pinch-hit grand slam in Tokyo. The Mets returned home with some new faces, and before long, Shea had some new favorites, like Derek Bell, who showed right off the bat that he had a flair for the dramatic. Mike Hampton started off slowly but came on strong and captured fans' hearts with his gutty, intense style. While laid-back Californian Todd Zeile found the Big Apple to be a perfect fit. New York fans got their first long look at Jay Payton, and they loved what they saw, a Rookie of the Year candidate who could do it all. Among the returning veterans, Al Leiter made it his mission to be the stabilizing center of the rotation, while Rick Reed righted himself in the second half to finish strong. And Armando Benitez was nearly dead solid perfect when the game was on the line. Robin Ventura struggled through a season of pain, but still managed to get the big hit when needed. Edgardo Alfonso provided his usual steadying influence, quietly working his way through an all-star season. And oh yeah, there was a guy named Piazza.
Center field, it's deep. Williams to the wall. Grand slam, Piazza. Piazza in pursuit. Oh, what a play by Mike Piazza.
The two away. Piazza rips it. Will it stay fair? Goodbye, home run! Mike Piazza!
All the parts, large and small, have brought the Mets to where they are today. A division title eluded their grasp, but a second straight trip to the playoffs is in store for the first time in franchise history. The regular season ends today, but the important season starts Wednesday for the 2000 New York Mets. With the postseason on the horizon, the Mets have dreams of success, and they'll need contributions from everyone on the roster in order to do that. And that's what took place during the year 2000, the regular season of which wraps up today on Fan Appreciation Day here at Shea Stadium. Hi again, everyone. I'm Matt Loughlin. Well, as you know, the Mets will open the playoffs on Wednesday. They will take on the San Francisco Giants, the first two games taking place out on the West Coast. And the times have already been announced for those two games. Game 1 will start 4 o'clock Eastern Time. Game 2, 8 o'clock Eastern Time. Games 3 and 4 are scheduled here for New York, but the times yet to be determined. Keep in mind that following each Mets playoff game, we'll have special post-game coverage on the MSG network. Mike Hampton was named as the starter for game number 1. For more on that, upstairs we go to another lefty, Howie Rose.
All right, Matty, thank you. Well, why not Mike Hampton? You can really flip a coin almost between Hampton and Al Leiter, but consider this. Mike Hampton in regular season play has never lost to the San Francisco Giants, so perhaps, Fran Healy, that's as good a reason as any.
Oh, I think it's very important to take that into consideration. Also, Mike Hampton or Al Leiter could have started the first game. It's no big deal. Whatever Bobby Valentine decided, whatever ran through his mind, only Bobby knows. But look at the numbers, 9-0, 2-2 for Al Leiter. But again, you got to throw even Mike Hampton's numbers out the window when the playoffs start. The Giants have a good ball club. The Mets have solid pitching. They got quite a competitor on the mound for the first game. Keep in mind, his stuff is a lot different than Al Leiter's. Leiter overpowering. Hampton turns the ball over and throws a lot of breaking balls.
And chances are, if the series goes 5 games, the Mets would be in position to use a left-hand starter 4 times. Significant, Ralph Kiner. The Giants have a losing record this year against left-hand starting pitching.
And this is the reason why. Barry Bonds, of course, the candidate for MVP on that ball club, along with Jeff Kent, and Barry Bonds with 12 home runs, a .230 batting average against left-hand pitching. The other players that are instrumental in that lineup: Rich Uridia, 7 home runs, a .288 average. Bill Miller, who might be the starter in the series, 308 but 3 home runs. Of course, Jeff Kent, the big RBI man for the Giants, .322 against left-hand pitching and 5 home runs. Ellis Burks, a surprise, a great year against left-hand pitching.
All right, but first things first, the Mets have one more to play. It'll be against the Montreal Expos here at Shea Stadium. Regular season finale. Bobby Valentine talks it over next.
The regular season began in Tokyo. It'll end today in Flushing as the Mets wrap up the 2000 season by taking on the Montreal Expos. The first pitch coming up in just a moment. Welcome back, everyone. I'm Matt Loughlin. Well, Bobby Valentine's crew, of course, is headed to the postseason. They'll begin play against San Francisco on Wednesday afternoon. The Mets, having clinched a berth earlier this week, had a chance to talk to him how important it was to get some rest.
I think you want to keep the winning idea alive. But, you know, in the new season, I'm not sure just how important that is once the new season starts. But I believe in it. I like it. I'd rather do it. There's no doubt about that. I don't know, most important. I think that we were able to to rest the guys and then pitch the guys in the bullpen, for sure, to make sure that their finals are ones where they're rested and feeling good about themselves. I think, you know, that the guys are clicking here on offense is a good sign. I think that our, you know, unity after the games has been solidified, I guess, you know, because we've won these games.
Again, it'll be Mike Hampton getting the start in Game 1 against San Francisco this afternoon in the final regular season game. Rick Reed on the mound for the Mets, looking for win number 12. He'll be opposed by Dustin Hermanson. The first pitch is next.
Howie Rose, Ralph Kiner, Fran Haley, Matt Loughlin, all with you from Shea Stadium in New York. Closed captioning is brought to you by The Wiz, your ticket to entertainment. Final game, regular season. Our umpiring crew today brought to you by clickandsettle.com. Settle your legal disputes online before your expenses get out of line. Angel Hernandez calls the balls and strikes. Marty Foster at first, Ronald Culpa at second, and Randy Marsh, the umpire, at third. Final game of the season usually means, at the very least, a more laid-back approach by each team, with players very often going after the first pitch or two. So here's Felipe Alou's selectees for this final game, Ralph.
Selectees as bright as he has gone for a lot of the bench players. Leading off in center field, Peter Bergeron. In left field, Terry Jones. Walton Guerrero playing in right field in place of his big brother, certainly one of the great players in the game today. Andy Tracy will be at first base. Jeff Blum will be at third base. Mike Mordecai will play second base in place of Vidro, who had a sensational year. Brian Snyder will do the catching. Tomas De La Rosa will be at shortstop, and Dustin Harrison will be on the mound. Hermanson on the mound.
And Rick Reed will pitch for the New York Mets. The defense they'll have working behind him is Bobby Valentine, at least for now, has the starters in there. Todd Seal at first base. The second baseman, Edgardo Alfonso. At third base, Robin Ventura. And the shortstop is Mike Mordick.
The center fielder, number 30.
In the outfield for New York, Benny Agbayani back in the lineup in left field, testing that hamstring with Jay Payton in center. And around and right, also back after banging his knee earlier in the week, is Derek Bell. Mike Piazza does the catching. This whole crew very possibly could be different by about the fifth inning, including starting pitcher Rick Reed, whose first pitch is bunted at by Bergeron. Tough play for Fonzie. A good one. One man away.
Better than good, I think, right there. That shows what kind of a ball player Alfonso is. A great bare-hand pickup, and notice how fast he gets rid of the ball. He has to do this to get the man at first base, and it was an outstanding play. Good bunt. That's what you want to do. Get it by the pitcher, make the second baseman field the ball. Look at that.
Well, that's one guy who goes after the first pitch, and Alfonso, like the third baseman he was at one time with that bare hand pickup, and now it's Terry Jones. He looks at one downstairs from Rick Reed, 1-0. Jones, a switch hitter, one of three in the starting lineup utilized by Felipe Alou today. And a fastball right there. How about this, Ralph? Vladimir Guerrero having a brilliant year once again with 197 hits. And Felipe Alou basically gave him the option of playing this game, or at least starting it, and he's chosen not to. Take a crack at 200 hits. Why would you want to sit down there?
I have no idea why a player with that kind of talent wouldn't want to pick up the 200 hits. And of course, he's had one of those years that few players have had. There have only been 3 other players that have had the type of start in baseball that he has had, and they were Jimmy Fox, Joe DiMaggio, and of course Ted Williams. He's had a fantastic first 3 years in the major leagues.
2-2 to Terry Jones, and he just gets a piece. Guerrero had 202 hits last year, so it wouldn't be anything totally different for him. But Terry Jones, Wilton Guerrero, both getting some time in the outfield in this game.
Only 3 players that hit 300, had 30 home runs and 100 RBIs in their first 3 seasons in the major leagues. And we mentioned those names: Fox, DiMaggio, and Williams.
Pretty impressive when you consider the company. And as far as Rick Reed goes, maybe 3-4 innings. 5 would probably be a stretch, but he's in line now to pitch the 3rd game at Shea Stadium against the Giants. A jam job and a late swing.
The scouting report on Rick Reed: he's going to have a little tune-up here. I imagine 5 innings, a chance to win the ball game. And he has that impeccable control, and has been picked for game number 3.
And the 8th pitch of this duel fouled away, so Terry Jones hanging right in. We know about the start times for games 1 and 2. Game 1 Wednesday will be a day game, 4 o'clock Eastern. Game 2, 8 p.m. Eastern. We cannot give you the information on Saturday and Sunday yet, and that very possibly won't be known until Friday night. So Reed with a full count here, and Terry Jones having a tough at-bat. And Rick delivers. Finally gets him. Took 10 pitches, but Reed settles the issue. 2 up, 2 down in the Montreal first. Wilton Guerrero will be next. And this is our pitching matchup, brought to you by the New York Marriott Marquis.
Hermanson with a very good earned run average in the first inning, and of course he has those numbers right there along with Reed. That's his last time out, both of the pitchers in their last at bat.
3 batters, 2 bunts. This one easy for Reed, even against the speedy Guerrero. And the Expos go quickly and quietly against Reed in the first. Mets are coming up. Final day, regular season. Glance to the first inning, and Ralph, at least at the start, Bobby Valentine has the regulars in there.
And this will probably be the starting lineup in the playoff games. Benny Agbayani will be in left field. Derek Bell in right. Edgardo Alfonso at second. Mike Piazza the catcher. Robin Ventura at third base. Todd Zeal will be at first base. Jay Payton in center field. Mike Bordick the shortstop, and Rick Reed the pitcher for the Mets.
And they will go after Dustin Hermanson. Hermanson 1-2 against the Mets in 3 starts this season. And this is the defense he'll have working behind him. At first base this afternoon, it's Andy Tracy with Mike Mordecai at second. The third baseman is Jeff Blum. And at shortstop, Tomas De La Rosa. Terry Jones in left field. Peter Bergeron is in center. And the right fielder is Wilton Guerrero. Brian Schneider behind the plate catching Dustin Hermanson, and Benny Agbayani back in business. Looks at a fastball for strike 1.
And Benny, of course, started the year off with a grand slam home run as a pinch hitter against the Cubs in Japan.
We'll look back on some memorable moments from this season throughout this game, but for Benny, this is how it started. It gave the Mets a win in Game 2 of the series in Tokyo. More than 6 months ago now. Fouled away to the right side. 1 ball, 2 strikes to Agbayani, and Benny, perhaps against some odds, stayed with this club all season. Remember, the Mets had the luxury of a couple of extra roster spots at the beginning of the year. Given that Benny had an option, there was the chance that he wasn't even going to be with the club past that very early part of the year.
And, of course, he felt that he earned that spot in the starting row lineup and rotation for the Mets off of the year he had the year before. But that option was the one thing that made the difference. Payton was the candidate that was one to consider, and he had no options.
And the 1-2 pitch to Benny, and it's chopped to the shortstop, De La Rosa. And Agbayani got down the line just fine, which is worthy of keeping an eye on because of that hamstring. And these are the numbers on Dustin Hermanson. Been in and out of the starting rotation. Their closer, Ugi Urbina, got hurt. Hermanson closed briefly, but Benny, I think, got down the line just fine, Ralph.
One of the things about a hamstring, it's in the back of your thigh, and you pull that hamstring by running hard. And right there, you saw he did run hard, so no apprehension there.
He's got a football build, doesn't he?
Oh, boy.
Like Earl. Remember Earl Campbell, the great running back of the Houston Oilers? Somewhat similar, I think, in physique. And Derek Bell also trying to fully recover from the aches and pains of a knee bruise on his left knee going into the wall hard the other day. And he, too, made an opening day contribution to the New York Mets, the home opener here at Shea.
And Derek Bell in his debut with the Mets here at Shea Stadium. A home run to left field that won the ball game. And Bell started out the year in grand style.
1 ball, 2 strikes. Funny, they could not get Derek Bell out for about the first month or 6 weeks of the season.
It's been a strange year for Bell. It's really been a roller coaster. He's hitting .267 for the year, but all of that was during the first half of the season. He has not hit a home run all year against a left-hand pitcher. And against left-hand pitching, which he normally hits well, he has really had a tough time this year. 156.
2 balls, 2 strikes. An absolutely baffling statistic, isn't it?
It's hard to figure, and it doesn't figure really, but it's one of those things that happens in baseball. You run into these streaks, or actually famines, to speak in this case, and you can't explain it. Next year it might turn around totally the opposite.
2 balls, 2 strikes, 1 out. In the air, short left field. Terry Jones, plenty of room. 2 down. So Hermanson picks up the first 2. That'll bring up Edgardo Alfonzo. Hermanson 2 and 4 in his career against the Mets. And Edgardo Alfonzo, another big season. Those numbers pretty much tell you the whole story.
And his numbers in September have really held up. The only Met player that had good numbers in the month of September. He had .315, 2 home runs. So he stayed consistently in that range that he has finished in, the .320 range.
No balls, 1 strike on Alfonzo. When the Mets needed a key hit this year, Alfonzo was as likely, if not more so, than any to deliver. 341 with runners in scoring position. And a chopper. And no play for Blum. It should be an error on the third baseman, Jeff Blum.
But a very difficult chance as he got that so-called half hop. The short hop is easy to catch. The big hop or straight hop is easy to catch. But that half hop in between, very difficult. The ball comes up and off of the body of the third baseman. It is being scored in error.
So Blum's error keeps the inning going, and here's Piazza. 38 homers, 113 runs batted in, and he takes strike 1 from Hermanson. Mike certainly had his share of dramatic hits this year. Look at what he's done in the past against Trevor Hoffman. Last year and before, and also this year. Extra innings in San Diego.
Hoffman is really his cousin, as they say in baseball, and this one a pinch hit home run in San Diego when Piazza wins the game against a very, very tough relief pitcher. One of the best in the game in relief, and Piazza does it to him again.
Piazza down on strikes, and the Mets are done in the first inning. A 2-out error by Blum, nothing more. One in the books in the regular season finale. Here at Shea, no score. This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the New York Mets and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the New York Mets, whose destiny for the second straight year is postseason play. Mets will go in with either 93, the number they have now, or 94 wins. That certainly legitimizes their standing as a postseason team.
They made a great comeback after being on top in baseball. September 1st, they had that dry spell, then came back strongly at the end of the year, which is the way you want to do it.
I think the one thing, Ralph, that's been evident since the wild card was instituted in the first year of postseason play under this format was 1995, is that when you look at the teams that have gotten in as the wild card, I mean, they're all worthy postseason teams. Nobody's gotten in there with a very cheesy record because of dominance across the top at 3 divisions. And virtually every wild card team has been in the 90-win neighborhood.
Yes, they have. In the 97, Marlins went on to win the World Series as a wild card team, and you see a base hit right there, the first hit of the game by Andrew Tracy.
And I think, Ralph, a smart play by Rick Reed, who just decided to get out of the way. It doesn't mean anything.
Stay alive. He kind of kicks at it, but I don't think he really wanted to get that ball on his leg.
I think he was kicking away from it, huh?
One of the best in the world at kicking that ball is going to the middle. Was a pitcher that pitched a long time ago for the New York Giants, and that was Fitzsimmons. Fat Freddie Fitzsimmons.
I guess he had fat shins, too, and it didn't matter.
They were black and blue.
Well, you saw Grant Roberts loosening up. He'll do some pitching today, and perhaps sooner than later, because Reed essentially is just throwing between starts here for a couple of innings. That's really all that amounts to. He will not start until Saturday, which will be Game 3 against the Giants. So Tracy at first with nobody out. And his base hit assures Ralph that the Mets will go into 2001 still looking for their first franchise no-hit, no-run game.
Started playing ball in 1962. Never have had a no-hit game pitched by one of their pitchers. Tom Seaver had 5 one-hit games.
2 balls, 1 strike on Blum.
Tom later on got a no-hitter when he was pitching for Cincinnati,
which he refers to as well down the list in terms of the best games he's ever pitched. I think the best game he ever pitched was right here on July 9th, 1969, that near-perfect game against the Chicago Cubs.
Although he pitched one more that was even better. He went 9 in the 3rd innings when he gave up that hit against the Cubs in 1969. But he pitched a game against the Cubs, and a hit came in the 10th inning. He had a no-hitter for 9 innings. Tarzana Wallace was the man that got that hit in the 10th inning.
2-2 on the way to Blum, and that's fouled away.
Was it Tarzana or Tarzan Wallace?
Joe Wallace was his name, and they called him Tarzan, or I don't remember if it was Tarzan or Tarzana, but I do remember there was a Tarzan-like prefix.
No-hitters are only compiled after you pitch 9 innings now in baseball. They changed the rule on that. There were a lot of no-hitters that went less than 9. But they don't count now in the record books.
Which is good news, I guess, for people like, was it Andy Hawkins with the Yankees, who pitched 8 no-hit innings but lost to the Chicago White Sox about 10 years ago? And Ken Johnson of the old Houston Colt 45.
He lost a no-hitter, yeah.
With a runner going, the pitch hit in the air to right field. Bell over and makes the catch. Tracy will come back to first. So 1 out here in the Montreal second. New York Mets baseball is brought to you by Brewery Fresh Budweiser, official beer of Major League Baseball. This Bud's for you. By British Airways, the world's favorite airline. And by Nissan, driven. So 1 out for Mike Mordecai. Mordecai playing second base today. Jose Vidro with 200 hits also on the bench. Fouled away, 0-1.
Mordecai was picked up to play second base for the Expos. They didn't think that Vidro was going to be able to make the team and play as an everyday player. Vidro fooled them all. He had a great year this year for Montreal, and Mordecai never got a chance to play second. Played some other infield positions, but not much.
All of this for an Expos team that had basically mailed in the last couple of months, according to people who've been around this ball club. That's chopped up the middle. Bordick with a flip to Alfonso, and they get the force on Tracy. So they exchange base runners. Mordecai now on at first. And the play by Bordick takes care of Tracy at second for the second out.
Good play by Mike Bordick, who saved the Mets when Ordonez went down with that broken arm. Gets the force at second base for a big out. Gets off the backhand throw, and that's not a throw you practice too often.
It's one of those last day of the season flips, isn't it?
Get it over.
Brian Schneider, the catcher, takes outside for ball one. Oh, I know the Mets won't have a no-hitter this year. That's been assured now. And if no one else in baseball throws a no-hitter today, this will be the first year since 1989 without a no-hitter in the major leagues. Fouled away, 1 ball, 1 strike.
They have set a new home run record for home runs in a single season by baseball. They've had an awful lot of 1-0 games this year. It is contrary to the home run record.
One ball, 1 strike to Schneider. And that's taken low, 2-1. And yet you look at the last 4 or 5 days, we've seen 3 teams score more than 20 runs in one game. What a strange kind of year, because so much of that home run hitting seemed to be top-heavy early in the year. And with a runner going from first, a base hit to left by Schneider. Mordecai gets to third. Schneider trying for second, and he's in there with a 2-out double. Well, Brian Schneider doubles. Mordecai to third with 2 men away.
Well, Agbayani showing that his leg is okay. He ran well after this ball. Almost got the out at second base. And makes a good play in this ball, getting back into second base. Runner was going on the pitch. Benny trying to cut the runner down at second base. Just to shade the lead.
So 2 good tests already for Benny Agbayani. One going down the line on a ground ball that he hit, and the other pursuing that double into the left field corner by Schneider. Well, Schneider had to get rid of that belt. Must have been a good pregame buffet in there.
Who was the player at first base when he got on first base? Took his pants down to get the dirt. Steve Lyons.
Steve Lyons.
Forgot that he was in the ballpark. Took his pants down to get the dirt out.
How do you forget that you're in a ballpark? I stopped by Piazza. 1 ball, no strikes. That sounds like one of those things that he had told himself as a 12-year-old. If I ever get to the big leagues, somewhere down the line, I'm going to do something like that.
He mooned 30,000 people. Might be the record.
To Thomas De La Rosa, and a curveball misses 2-0. Expos trying to give themselves a little something to be happy with this last day of the season, aside from the fact it is simply the last game. They have lost their last 8 games in a row.
Bobby Knight got the entire country of Puerto Rico on time and mooning down there.
That's the international record.
That is that's the Olympic record.
2-1 on De La Rosa. Well, right back at you this year, Bobby Knight. And as far as Felipe Alou, will there be a next year in Montreal? Now they seem to be saying yes. Because the owner, Jeffrey Loria, apparently doesn't want to eat any more money.
I saw, I had a ride down from Montreal last week and sat with David Sampson.
Oh, so you're full of scoops.
And he said they're coming back. There's no doubt about it. They're going to be in Montreal.
2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. Green ready. Up the middle, a base hit.
In comes Mordecai. Here comes Schneider. Here comes the throw to the plate by Payton. He is out. Jay Payton guns down Brian Schneider. Well, you think back at how early in the year there were concerns about his elbow, and his throwing has been about as vital and as solid a part of his defense as any this year. An outstanding season from rookie Jay Payton, and a big assist here, only 1-0 Expos.
No changes or substitutions are allowed.
Robin Ventura set to lead off in the second inning, and even though he's been banged up, various aches and pains, he's played 141 games, delivering outstanding defense.
Right here, the toughest play for a third baseman, the barehand pickup of the bunt. Great throw as he goes down to the ground and gets his man with that throw. Ventura not having quite the year he had defensively this year, but that was one of the good plays of the year.
I think Bobby Valentine, Ralph, has done a masterful job in monitoring Robin Ventura in particular, and also, of course, Mike Piazza over this last 4 to 6 weeks of the season. I think he now can be very comfortable with the fact that however banged up either or both of them are, that they've had at least enough rest so that he hasn't overextended them going into the playoffs.
Well, Bobby has great compassion for his players, and the players, of course, think he's really an outstanding player and manager, and that's one of his great points.
Just don't get buried on the end of Bobby Valentine's bench. Robin Ventura takes a fastball outside for ball 1.
The game of baseball has changed considerably, of course, over the years, and that's one of the things about baseball now is that they play it more as a complete 25-man roster.
Hermanson to the bank, takes the flip from Tracy, 1 man away. Well, Robin Ventura does not have a patent necessarily on grand slams, even though he's the active major league leader. Todd Zeal is coming up now, had a dramatic bases loaded home run in St. Louis.
And this against the Cardinals, and bases loaded home run by Zeal, as he has been a complete player at first base, replacing the tough end to replace John Olerud. Zeal has done a very good job.
And Hermanson's first pitch popped up. The catcher Schneider gets rid of the mask. 2 down. So 2 quick outs here in the Mets second. Jay Payton comes into this last game with a .290 batting average. Is that good enough for Rookie of the Year? Let's ask Jay.
No, I mean, all guys being considered, everybody had pretty equal season. But you look at the guys that probably had the biggest impact, and you know, I know for Cal down there in Atlanta is probably the front runner, and Ankiel, and St. Louis is probably right up there. Those 2 guys that pretty much been mentioned all year. I kind of snuck in the picture there during the middle of the season. So you know, whatever happens, it's not you know, not too concerned about it. But like I say, the fact that I'm just being mentioned for it's quite an honor, and hopefully we can get a World Series ring, and I won't care less about that.
Jay looked like he was trying to get to the 20 home run mark with that 1 swing. He's got 17 now. Boy, did he take a big hack of that first pitch from Hermanson.
You know, you touched on it when he made that throw home, but this is the fellow that spent probably 4 years recovering from an arm that was just totally gone. Had the ligament transplant, and now you see the results of a new ligament to make that arm able to pull off a play like this. Now, one thing about this play, he makes it a good play by charging the ball and getting rid of the ball in a hurry, but the throw was perfect.
And Blum can't handle this one either. He had an error in the first inning. Payton on his way to second. Throw from Jones, not in time. That ball hard to hit. And a tough chance again for Blum. We'll see how they score this one, and it is going to be an error against Blum. I think this one may be a little bit tougher than the first, but either way, he's got 2 errors.
Payton hits the ball hard, but it's playable. Again, it's that half hop. They made an error on a ball similar to this, and the half hop gets by him this time, and out in the left field, and it's a 2-base error.
So Payton in scoring position for Mike Bordick. 1-0 Expos. We're in the second. And a fastball for a strike to Bordick, 0-1. Now, what's Mike Bordick's future as far as the Mets are concerned? He's a free agent at the end of the year. Vladimir Guerrero with 197 hits, making his first appearance of the afternoon in the Montreal dugout. Still can't believe Felipe Alou didn't throw him in there and say, go out and get 3 hits. Get yourself a milestone, kid.
Well, he's not playing today, and of course he's had a great year again. At one time he played for the camp that the Dodgers had in the Dominican Republic, and they did not sign him. They signed his younger brother, Will, who's playing right field in today's game.
Would he be the first guy? I mean, this is the oldest question that kids always talk about. If you could choose one player to start a franchise in baseball right now, is he at the top of your list?
I would say you got to say that he is one of the people you would consider everyday player who is probably the most non-known player that's great.
And a base hit to right by Bordick. Here comes Payton, and this game is tied. Wilton Guerrero overran the ball, but Bordick will hang on at first. And so the first Met hit of the afternoon produces the game-tying run. It's 1-1. And in effect, they get Rick Reed off the hook here in the second inning because they'll hit for him.
Well, it's not pretty, but it's certainly effective. Bordick's had a tough September. After hitting a home run his first at bat for the Mets, coming here from Baltimore and doing an outstanding job replacing Ordonez. Will Guerrero doesn't make the play on the first drive, but holds a runner at first base.
So Jorge Toca loops one into right field. On to third, Bordick. Guerrero's throw, not in time. And Jorge Toca continues to make some fans here at Shea Stadium. Toca with a 3-run double yesterday, which brought the Mets back. They were trailing 2-1. That was the difference. They won 4-2. Now he's got another hit.
And this one is off the end of the bat. Little loop hit into right field. Will Guerrero doesn't have the arm his brother has. And so the third base is not in time.
So Benny batting, and the Mets in a 1-1 tie. Agbayani grounded to short first time up. 3 hits for the Expos, 2 for the Mets. 0-1. The Met run, and anything else they might get here in the second inning unearned because of the second error of the game by the third baseman Jeff Blum. And they'll have all winter to worry about it. Taken by Tracy, and that retires the side. So the Mets get even. 2-out error, and then a couple of base hits. And at the end of 2 here at Shea, final game of the regular season, all even, 1-1. Later tonight, keep informed on the entire world of sports with the Keith Olbermann Evening News. That's tonight at 10 on Fox Sports Net. View suites are now available for the postseason, so you can enjoy the playoff games in the luxury of a fully catered Diamond View suite. Each suite holds 15 people and features a great view of the field. So for more information, call 718-565-4310 during business hours. Get out to the ballpark next weekend. Saturday for certain, and then Sunday if necessary. Games 3 and 4 against the Giants. Grant Roberts takes over the pitching as Rick Reed did a 2-inning tune-up. So he will pitch that Saturday game here at Shea. Hampton in the opener, and Al Leiter will pitch in the second game. So Grant Roberts, who made his major league debut against the Montreal Expos here at Shea, will come on to face them here.
It was anything but auspicious.
Yeah, that was the first game of a doubleheader. He lasted just a third of an inning, giving up 6 hits and 7 runs. But the Mets took him off the hook. They came back and won that game 9-8. downstairs to Roberts, who ranked 6th in the National League, or in the International League, in earned run average with 3.38. Made 25 starts for Norfolk. He was 7-8. 1-1 to Dustin Hermanson. So Grant Roberts picking up Reed. And if you're keeping a scorecard at home, I hope you're using pencil and that you have very good penmanship, because by the time Felipe Alou and Bobby Valentine are done with this one, you may have to have room for just about everybody on that lineup card that both managers will look at. See the bench and the bullpens down there as well. A lot of them are going to get in before this one's over, in all likelihood. Jay Payton puts it away, 1 down. Certainly that's the way the first 2 games of this series have gone. So Hermanson retired on the fly ball to center. Here brings up Peter Bergeron. Bergeron went after the first pitch from Rick Reed, tried to bunt his way on. He pushed it past the pitcher. That was his primary objective, but Alfonso made a good bare hand play to throw him out. Outside to Bergeron, 1-0. Montreal Expos completing their 32nd season in the National League. And from all indications, there will be a 33rd. Well, that was somewhat uncertain until the recent past. How far they go beyond that, well, that's still a pretty big question.
They drew this year 926,260 free paid admissions to the ballpark. 3rd year in a row they have not made the million mark.
Alfonso from the outfield grass, 2 away. Well, one time Montreal was not at all a bad baseball city. They had some strong teams. They drew very well.
The thing that really has hurt Montreal, the ballpark, certainly the Big O, really a terrible place to play and watch baseball. But the thing that really has hurt them is they've had some great players there, and they've had to trade them off to keep the payroll going where they can handle it. And the fans are really good fans. They have drawn over 2 million many years. And the new ballpark would help considerably. And the fans, of course, are really old-time baseball fans. They had the International League in Montreal for years and years. One time it was the farm club with the Dodgers, and some of the great Dodger players came through there for years and years. And of course the one we talk about the most is Jackie Robinson. Robinson played there and was certainly well liked and applauded.
That was in 1946, the year before he came to the Dodgers. And right here, 54 years later, Grant Roberts pitching for the New York Mets works a perfect 3rd. 1-1 the score. Make sure to tune to Fox Sports Net every night at 11 o'clock for the New York edition of the Regional Sports Report. Home team news, local stories, regional highlights. Get all your sports info. The only region you care about, your Regional Sports Report, comes your way live tonight at 11. And Derek Bell has certainly been a popular player with the fans this year, Ralph.
Pretty good for a guy that owns a yacht and lives on the yacht while he's in New York. And he is really a very popular player. He rings a bell. No doubt about that.
I mean, he's feeding kids here. He's got to be running for office, or will be eventually. Fastball from Hermanson on the outside corner. Bell with a fly ball to left field in the 1st inning. Bell, Alfonso, Piazza for New York in the 3rd. It's a 1-1 game. That's looking to close out with a 94 regular season win. They won 96 during the 162 games of last regular season, then had to go into the final wild card playoff game as a 1-day extension, an addendum to the regular season. So technically last year they won 97 in 163 games. 1 ball, 2 strikes to Bell.
1969 they won 100 games to then go on and be the world champions. 1986 they won 108 games in the regular season.
1-2 2 pitch on the way, and that's bounced to the left side. Blum's got this one. But a bad throw. Did Tracy hold the bag? He did. Well, Blum has booted 2 ground balls. Now Mookie Wilson arguing with first base up Marty Foster, wondering how in the world Tracy could have kept his foot on the bag. Make your own mind up.
Well, another play by the third baseman. It could have been an error, but the umpire saved him here. Does he come off the bag? Hard to tell. Right here, a little better shot. He's really off the bag there.
Oh.
You wonder how umpires can make that call.
I mean, it's not close.
It isn't really close at all, and maybe it's the fact that it's the last game of the year. It's time to go.
Marty Foster have any postseason work?
I don't think so.
I guess he's out of here. 1-1 to Alfonso. Let's see, what is it? It's almost 2 o'clock. I don't know where he lives, but there must be a 4 o'clock out of LaGuardia wherever he's going. Line by Alfonso, a base hit. So Fonzie 1 for 2.
Well, if you want to see perfect position in hitting the ball, Alfonso does it right there. Pitch was in tight. His weight is back. His arms and hands are out in front. And he keeps the ball in fair play with a perfect swing. Oh, this is all great. Now look how he's stays on that same angle and gets through the ball, and the hips clear out. Here's the overhead. This is ideal. There it is.
So Alfonso at first for Piazza. Big cut, 0-1. Mike struck out his first time up. That's 69 strikeouts you saw there. That is a pretty low total for a power hitter. With less than 500 at-bats, 479 coming in. Little number foul, 0-2, and you don't hear that much about Piazza's defense, but take a look at this play in L.A.
He, of all the catches in the National League, has the best fielding percentage and defensive ability. Right there, you see him make a brilliant catch as he hangs onto that ball and goes into the stands. He is the best in fielding percentage of catchers.
Ralph, you and I were seated about 3 rows behind that. We were going downstairs to get ready for Kiner's Corner. Bobby Valentine came charging out of the dugout to see how Piazza was. And Bobby stood there when he realized Piazza was all right, yelling at him in so many words, "You are one unbelievable ball player," and just continuing to extol the virtues of Mike Piazza, the ball player, in Piazza's own ear, which you don't seem to hear that much.
Well, one thing about that game, he made 2 plays that were really unbelievable. As Casey Stinger would say, amazing.
2 balls, 2 strikes to Piazza. Mike hits one in the air, left center field. Peter Bergeron calls off Jones, and that's the second out. We don't have audio for you, but one other thing that happened on that play in L.A. was a fan saved Piazza or helped him out. Bobby Valentine congratulates the fan. Thanks for the help, buddy. That's a manager who does not miss a detail. So 2 out now for Ventura. Grounded to first his first time up. No balls, 1 strike to Robin. So the power number is still respectable despite that 233 average. Ventura 24 homers, 84 runs batted in. On the inside corner, it's 0-2. Each team with 3 hits in this game. And Hermanson deals 0-2. It's downstairs. The Mets will be looking at a right-hand pitcher in Game 1 of the National League Division Series, Livan Hernandez, who's had a terrific second half for the Giants. most likely, will pitch for San Francisco on Wednesday. 2 balls, 2 strikes now to Ventura. Hey, New York, how about winning this for me? It's my first baseball game. All right. A detailed, impassioned plea for Robin, who needs to step out so he can read it, take it all in. Now, what do you think? Ask and ye shall receive. Full count.
Getting back to the starting pitcher for the Giants, Hernandez was the outstanding pitcher in the 1997 playoffs and World Series for the Marlins.
He and Al Leiter of the Mets. Dennis Cook as well, back teammates on that 97 World Championship team, which won as a wild card. So Alfonso automatic start. Ventura stopped by Tracy. Hermanson to the bag. Well, he got the bag. And the side retired. So Ventura grounds out. Final day of the season. Now, is Derek Bell going after our home plate camera here? Do we take this personally? Not a chance. Fran Healy's coming up next 3.
New York Mets baseball is brought to you by Aflac. Without it, no insurance is complete. By AT&T, now get local and long-distance service all in one. AT&T and by McDonald's. We love to see you smile. Shea Stadium, Flushing, New York. The regular season is about to end. Fran Healy, Ralph Kiner, Howie Rose, Matt Lachlan, and that young man right there with his bottle of Pepsi and his Met hat on. These guys will be looking forward to the playoffs. Starts this week out in San Francisco. Wilton Guerrero will not be there. And the pitch to Wilton. There's a strike. Couldn't ask for a better day to end the season, Ralph.
Yeah, I'd like to see this happen in San Francisco, too.
Well, it's a day game, so we have a shot at it. Foul out of play. First game is a day game. Beautiful new ballpark, the Pac-Bell ballpark out there.
There is of course, it's a brand new ballpark, and there is a way to play that park that the Giants have found out how to play the defense against the winds in the ballpark there. And by now, I would say that all the clubs that go in there will know exactly what to do with the way the winds affect the game in San Francisco.
It's 1-2 on Wilton Guerrero. He fouls it off, so we'll do it again in 1-2. The Pac-Bell ballpark, they built it, they say, to block some of the wind in San Francisco. Candlestick Park, they built it to enjoy the wind, to enjoy the cold air.
I haven't found anybody yet that went there that enjoyed it.
No, it was a dump. Here's a 1-2 pitch inside, 2-2. In Pac-Bell ballpark, if the ball is hit high enough and it gets above the top deck, the wind does play a big role in the flight of that ball.
One thing about San Francisco, the wind blows all the time.
It's a beautiful city. The weather really is not good.
October might be the best month of the year there.
You get about 5 good days during the year, and it's in October. So hopefully the playoffs will see good weather at Pac-Bell Park. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Guerrero fouls it off. Not only that, but some stories within the game. You'll take a look at some MVP candidates: Barry Bonds, Jeff Kent, Mike Piazza. Of course, Mike tapering off there for a little while with that slump, I'm sure hurt him. But the Mets are in the wild card, and without Mike Piazza, wouldn't be there. Here's a 2-2 pitch. Outside, 3 balls and 2 strikes.
And what you do in the playoffs or World Series is that does not count in your voting for the MVP or any other award.
I believe the votes go in today. Foul tip into Mike Piazza's glove, and 1 down. Now let's take a look at our Aflac trivia question. We need Gary Thorne to make that noise. The duck. How many postseason games have the Mets won in franchise history? Well, Ralph, go ahead.
I can't count that out.
I think you just avoided that question. Nice Nice crowd on hand here at Shea Stadium, the sun-drenched crowd. There's a breaking ball for a strike to Andy Tracy. Tracy batting .257, 11 home runs and 32 RBIs. He singled his first time up.
Of course, the one thing about that question, you have to remember the game has really changed a lot since the old days of each team that won the pennant in the respective leagues would play in a best of 4 out of 7 World Series. Now, one time the World Series was best of 5 out of 9.
Down low, 2 balls and 1 strike. Now, Ralph, you've been around this game a long time. You've seen a lot of changes, and of course, when they decided to put in the playoff format, there was some criticism, the wild card criticism. What do you think? You've seen it now for a while.
I think the wild card's an ideal expansion of what goes on in baseball.
I think it keeps the interest in baseball a lot longer than, I mean, years ago, if two teams ran away with it, it became a boring baseball season.
Good example is what's happening right now in the American League. It has not been decided. Last day of the season, they might have to play another game.
Foul back. I think it's great for baseball. You're seeing the best baseball ever, with all due respect to the guys you played with and against.
Well, the ball game has really improved with years and years. I remember talking to Hannes Wagner, one of the greatest players of all time. And there was no doubt in his mind that the players that he talked about, and that was the teams and players that I played in the 40s, 30s, 40s, and 50s, that he said that players are better. There's no question about it. Better than when I played. And you're talking about people like Ty Cobb and Hannes Wagner and people that are recognized as the greatest players that ever played.
Here's a 2-2 pitch. Swung on and missed. 2 down. Baseball loves nostalgia, and I think it's great that we talk about the history of the game. And there have been some magnificent players. But baseball, Ralph, has always been a game where the generation that just completed playing is critical of the generation following it.
It's sort of like human nature. Of course, look at automobiles. Model T Ford, certainly the cars are better today.
Yeah. 2 men are out now, and Jeff Blum is the batter. 1 ball and no strikes on Blum, who flied to right field his first time up. And the 1-0 pitch. There's a strike. 1 ball and 1 strike. When you take a look at, well, he's not out here today, the right fielder for the Montreal Expos. Just a great talent. Here's the 1-1 pitch fouled off. You'd be hard-pressed to find a more complete right fielder in the history of baseball. Vladimir Guerrero.
Well, his stats certainly are equal to anyone that has ever played the game in his first 3 full seasons in the major leagues.
Outside, 2 balls and 2 strikes. Babe Ruth played right field, but Babe Ruth also played left field.
He also was a pitcher for 6 years before he played right field and left field on a regular basis. He also played first base.
In fact, I believe that Babe is one of about 4 guys that played 1,000 games at 2 different positions. Here's a 2-2 pitch. Bounce to second base. Alfonso makes an easy flip. And that'll do it for the Montreal Expos here in the top of the 4th inning. We played 3½. The Mets and the Expos tied at 1. And we'll go back to our Aflac trivia question. How many postseason games have the Mets won in franchise history, Mr. Kiner?
Well, of course, the first time was 1969, and there's the answer there. 73, 86, 88, and 99.
Well, the focus will be on the Mets in postseason starting Wednesday out in the city by the bay. There's a strike.
You know, Fran, talking about Babe Ruth, the last person that is alive today that pitched to Babe Ruth is a pitcher by the name of Eldon Ocker, who will be celebrating his 90th birthday Friday, November 3rd. I believe that is the date, and he pitched against Ruth and struck him out.
That's Takes a while. He strike out although the Babe did strike out quite a bit.
Not according to present-day standards.
Oh,
That's untrue.
I understand. I'm not ripping the big guy, but
I mean, present-day standards, well, as a matter of fact, Mookie's adopted son has a chance to break the record in strikeouts of 189 held by Barry Bonds. They're not going to play him today if he has a chance to break that record.
That's a smart move by the Marlins because he's had a solid year outside of that. 30-30 club. It's 3-1 now on Todd Zeile. Fly ball center field. Bergeron after it. Nice play by Peter Bergeron. Running a long way for that ball, taking an extra base hit away from Todd Zeile. Kid from Greenfield, Massachusetts, where he played his high school ball.
This ball carries a long way. Zeile was good far the opposite way. And Bergeron has to make a over-the-shoulder catch a la Willie Mays. And a good play.
Hey, speaking of great catches, Peter Bergeron made a nice catch there. I think one of the best defensive plays of the year was made by this guy here, Jay Payton, in San Francisco. We'll go back.
Bill Miller hits this ball, and look at that play there to take a home run away from Miller. And we'll be looking at Miller in the playoff games with, pardon me, the Giants.
1-0 on Jay Payton. Speaking of the Giants, you think about the Dodgers. Nelson Doubleday and Fred Wilpon grew up as Dodger fans. Peter McGowan, who's the owner of the Giants, grew up as a Giant fan. There's a line drive base hit down the left field line. There should be extra bases for Jay Payton, and it is. So Payton hitting 290, smoking that ball down left field line. And the folks today will go in for Rookie of the Year also, Ralph.
They do that, and Payton is a definite candidate with a 290 average. 17 home runs, and right here you see his lightning fast bat as he doubles on the left field line.
Number 17, Mike Gordon.
He's hit 17 home runs this year. The way he swings that bat, next year he'll hit 25. He'll be more comfortable and more confident.
This is first year in the major leagues as a regular player. He's been here before, but never playing on a regular basis.
He missed 2 complete seasons. Reconstructive surgery.
And probably 2 more trying to recover.
Yeah. Take a look at the home runs by National League rookies. Burrow with 18. He is a definite home run hitter. Payton is more of a spray type hitter with 17. Molesky having a nice year with Houston with 14. 1-0 on Bordick. He takes a strike. But it'd be quite a story if Jay Payton got the award after fighting with the reconstructive surgery. And because of the reconstructive surgery, all he could do is go out and catch fly balls. He's turned into quite a center fielder.
We saw him make the play today, throwing the runner out at home on a single to center field. Another hit for Bordick.
So Bordick picking up a base hit. Here comes Payton. Here comes the throw. Cut off. Bordick beats Tracy back to first. So Bordick with a single and an RBI. Bordick hustling back to first base. We're going to get a pinch runner.
Pinch running for the New York Mets, number 47, Joe McEwen.
Take a look at that play again. Wilton Guerrero with the throw.
And the ball cut off by the first baseman, Tracy, in the race to first base. As Bordick makes a turn, is won by Bordick.
The pitcher, number 36, Brad Roberts.
So a pinch runner for Bordick after he drives in the second run for the Mets. He has driven in both runs for the Mets in this game. They lead 2-1.
Grant Roberts, the batter. Runner on first base. Roberts pulls the bat back and takes a strike. 0-1. The Mets will fly out to San Francisco tomorrow. Probably work out on Tuesday. And Mike Hampton will be on the hill Wednesday afternoon. So a lot of excitement coming up. Playoff action, and the Mets are back in the playoffs, second year in a row.
yellow card started back in 1994, but was never used because that was the strike season. And that year, Montreal was leading the major leagues with a winning percentage that was the best in the National and the American.
So Dustin Hermanson bobbled the ball, then picked it up and flipped to first base. He's laying on the ground.
He's been like a fighter in this game that's been knocked down twice. He stumbled at first base and went to the ground earlier. And there he makes a fantastic throw. Ball almost prone in the ground. Getting the ball to first base. This is really an unusual play. Gets through the ball and gets the out at first base on the sacrifice.
So Hermanson now will take on Benny Agbayani with the runner on second base. The Mets have a 2-1 lead here in the bottom of the fourth inning on an absolutely gorgeous day in Flushing. The Mets will be playing Saturday and Sunday back here in Flushing next week against those Giants. Down and in on Agbayani, 1-0. Agbayani fouls it off, so it's 1 ball and 1 strike on Big Benny. Dustin Hermanson trying to pick up a victory here, but he's trailing by a run. He misses down low. Hermanson this year, 12-14. The Expos consider him one of their best pitchers. They've come up with some nice arms in the staff.
They have a pretty good pitching staff, and of course the records are not indicative of their ability because the team doesn't win.
Ball short, booted. De La Rose to the first in time. So the booted ball, and De La Rosa still is able to pick it up and throw Agbayani out at first base. And that'll do it for the Mets. But we go to the top of the 5th inning, and the Mets from Flushing have a 1-run lead over the Expos from Montreal.
We're back at Shea Stadium, final day of the regular season, and back at Shea, Mets assistant general manager Omar Minaya, fresh off a wonderful trip to Australia where the team you helped put together as a member of the baseball committee won the gold medal, and I guess it has to be one of the highlights of your career in this sport.
Yeah, it was very exciting to be part of the committee, but really just being part of that whole Olympic experience, being able to win the gold, being able to beat the Cubans, and you know, you're doing it for your country, and that was something that was I'll never forget.
Hands down, everyone thought, all right, it would be Cuba for the gold and everyone else battling it out for silver and bronze. And Cuba beat the U.S. in the preliminary round. What was the key to be able to bounce back and shut them out in that final game?
Well, the key was simple. It was Ben Sheets. Ben Sheets, a young right-handed pitcher for the Milwaukee Brewers, just threw an outstanding game. He basically carried us that game. But overall, you got to give credit to the staff, to Tommy Lasorda, all his coaches, and really to the players, because, you know, to get to the gold medal round, you had to see unbelievable baseball. A miracle home run against Korea twice by the kid from Minnesota, Mankiewicz, and it was an outstanding tournament.
So now, as you saw this unfold in Sydney, and eventually the dream is realized, what's going through your mind as that last out was finally recorded and the gold was coming home with the U.S.?
Well, we won in Sydney. Now let's hope we win the World Series here with the Mets. I want to see that celebration. We had a great celebration when we won, and I hope we're able to do this here in Shea Stadium this year.
All right, Omar, congratulations on your input, helping the team pick up the gold, and maybe the Mets will make it a double bagger for you.
I hope so, too.
All right, fellas, back to you.
All right, Matty, as Jay Payton just ran down a fly ball off the bat of Mike Mordecai. It's a nice play.
Well, he had a bad arm fixed up, and now his feet, which always were good, proves he can run just as well as ever. This is a good catch.
It's amazing how an injury, according to Jay Payton, has turned him into a very good center fielder.
Couldn't throw, but he could catch.
Yeah, he can chase him down. He still throws the ball fairly well now. Threw out a runner in this game as Brian Schneider, the catcher, swings through a fastball, 0-1.
Ben Sheets, the man that Omar was talking about, certainly an outstanding prospect for Milwaukee.
The 0-1 pitch fouled off. You know, we've talked about how it must have been very unusual to sit there and listen to Tommy motivate. Well, the professional players were aware of Tommy, but I'm sure some of the amateur players had to sit there and go, what's going on here? Tommy got through with them, they were confused. Joe McEwing at shortstop. The 0-2 pitch swung on and missed. 2 down. And reminder, today after the Mets Expos game right here on Fox Sports Net, it's Kiner's Corner. Join, it says whimsical. You want me to go with that word or intellectual?
I think pick another word.
Intellectual. Hall of Famer, Ralph Kiner. As he hosts a post-game show full of highlights. I'm glad to use that word, full of highlights, analysis, and a special guest is always bound to stop by because we're going to beg him. Watch Kiner's Corner presented by Jeep Today. You don't have to beg. Everybody wants to go on Kiner's Corner.
How about Tommy Lasorda, though, getting back to that? He's going to be impossible to be with. Now he's won the gold medal. It's tough enough before then. It was really tough. Now it's going to be impossible.
When I had an opportunity in a press room at L.A., Mr. Lasorda was telling me about the Olympics, and he said, we're not going 6,000 miles to lose that, and you know what he would fill in the blank, game. Swung on and missed. But he is a cat. He's great for baseball. He's a baseball treasure. Generated a lot of interest in the Olympics with baseball because Tommy Lasorda was there. One ball and 1 strike on Tomas De La Rosa. De La Rosa bounces to Ventura, who flips to Zeal. And that will do it for the Expos here in the 5th. They go quietly. Grant Roberts still pitching well. It's 2-1 New York, and we'll be back. Well, folks, the Mets are swinging for a world championship. And MSG is the only place to get the full scoop on their postseason run. Now, for the 2nd straight year, Mets fans can follow their team's postseason journey with extensive post-game coverage and highlights immediately following all Mets playoff games. Tune to MSG Network for the Jeep Mets post-game report. So we'll bring you all the after-the-game facts and figures from San Francisco. World Series or bust. You gotta believe. 2 famous quotes coming out of the '73 campaign for the Mets. You gotta believe, coined by Tug McGraw, and it ain't over till it's over, coined by legendary Hall of Fame catcher Yogi Berra.
The great philosopher, Yogi Berra.
Good man. But 2 of those quotes, as you look at Coquelette, Trace Coquelette now in the ball game.
They won about, you got to believe, by Tug McGraw, who came after the president of the ball club, M. Donald Grant, went down to the clubhouse and made a speech about the team being in last place. And this team was better than that. And he went through the whole speech. And out of that speech, it was sort of a derisive comment. Tug McGraw said, you got to believe.
Yeah, it was amazing because it was somewhat disrespectful.
Well, he didn't believe that M. Donald Grant had the right to be down in the clubhouse. Of course, he was the president of the club. And the Mets were in last place in August and went on to win.
It's 0-1 on Derek Bell. Derek Bell is the right fielder with this club. It's the bottom of the 5th inning. You saw Mota now on in relief. You know, we talked about Jay Payton's catch. I thought it was the play of the year, defensive play of the year for the Mets. But this play here will certainly give it a battle. This is the play that Derek Bell made the other night.
And, of course, on that play, he injured his knee, but it was a fantastic catch.
So it'll be between those 2 plays, I guess. 0-2 on Derek Bell. And then the following night, Brian Jordan made a similar catch in the exact same place for the Braves.
Except he was going sideways when he caught the ball and didn't hit into the wall as hard.
But he threw that left leg up as Derek Bell strikes out. He threw his left leg up against the wall, fully extended to take some of the bang away from the rest of his body, I guess. But what a week it's been here at Shea Stadium. Think about it, Ralph. The Braves come in and clinch the playoff berth as the Eastern Division champions on one night. The next night, the other team celebrates for the same reason they're going to the playoffs. I wonder if that has ever happened in baseball.
Back-to-back celebrations.
And then two catches, similar catches, which could be categorized as great plays.
They were that.
And at the same part of the ballpark, the same wall, almost identical places where they hit. Lenny Harris is the batter, 0-1 in Harris. So it's been quite a week here at Shea Stadium. Bobby Valentine and the troops will go out to Pat Bell Ballpark tomorrow. De La Rosa making that play. 1 down, or 2 down. Now we'll take a look at our Marriott Marquis pitching numbers for today, Ralph.
And Hermanson against Rick Reed, and Reed out of the ballgame after 2 innings. 1 run was earned on 3 hits, and Hermanson 1 earned run, another run, and 5 hits.
And the Mets Player of the Year is at the plate, Mike Piazza. And he hits the ball in the center field. Bergeron makes the grab, and that'll do it for Mike Piazza and the Mets. They go quietly here in the bottom of the 5th inning after 5 complete here at Shea. In front of a big crowd, Mets have a 1-run lead. Oh, back here at Shea Stadium, the Mets have a 1-run lead over the Montreal Expos as we go to the 6th inning. And a reminder that you see those Diamond View seats, it's a great place to watch a ball game. And the reason we're telling you that, they're now available for postseason. Enjoy the playoff game in the luxury of a fully catered Diamond View suite. Each suite holds 15 people and has a great view of the field. For more information, call 718-565-4310. And that's during business hours. Well, what a place to watch a ball game.
Second baseman, number 28, Trace Coquelet.
People enjoying themselves in the suite today. Great food. Great place to catch a ball game. You're looking at Shea Stadium in Flushing, New York. Trace Coquelet will lead it off as you see Matt Franco at third base. And Coquelet takes inside from Grant Roberts. Roberts, by the way, 3 perfect innings, 3 strikeouts, 36 pitches, 23 strikeouts. Valandia also in the ball game. And Vance Wilson behind the plate. Coquelet takes ball 2, so 2 balls and no strikes. Coquelet batting .211, 1 home run, 8 RBIs. Final game of the regular season. It's been quite a ride this year for the Mets. They fought all year long trying to catch those Braves. They fell short, but they go back to postseason play. They won 93 games. There's a strike. Ralph, if the Pirates won 93 games when you were playing,
Could have been an investigation.
Coquelet pops it up. This is an easy play. And it's 1 man down. By the way, we're going to take a look at our Tri-State Consumer Insurance quote book. Just saw Valandia make that catch. Today's quote is brought to you by Tri-State Consumer Auto Insurance. Call them right now for your free rate quote. And it's Bobby Valentine talking about those Giants, Ralph.
Strong bullpen, no doubt about that. Good starting pitching, no doubt about that. And the offense, Bonds and Kent as the 2 big leaders.
Peter Bergeron picking up a base hit to right field. So the Giants have the best record in baseball. Dusty Baker will probably be the manager of the year.
Again.
Yeah, he's got some candidates for MVP. Barry Bonds, Jeff Kent. Could split the vote. It would be a shame if people don't vote for Barry Bonds because of his personality.
Well, a lot of that is taken into consideration. He is not enamored by the riders that make the vote.
Is it fair? Should it be part of the voting? Dale Carnegie, would he have been the most valuable player?
According to his book, yes.
Yeah.
How to win friends and influence people.
Even if he couldn't hit, he'd be the MVP.
That's right. With that kind of a background, he had to win.
You got it. You got to get a nice guy. Give him a vote. Terry Jones is 0 for 2 as the batter. There goes Bergeron. Throw from Wilson, not in time. Still a stolen base for the Expos center fielder.
Of course, one thing you have to point out, Barry Bonds has been voted the MVP 3 times.
Should have been 4.
But 3 isn't bad.
3's very good. In fact, you know, talking about personalities, and they do play an important part because the writers who travel with the team, I mean, they don't want to be stepped on by a player and shouldn't be and shouldn't have to take it. But years ago, when Ted Williams hit over 400, he did not get the MVP in the American League. Joe DiMaggio did.
Well, DiMaggio had in 56 consecutive games in 1941.
That's right. So
that was it.
But they said that some writers left Williams off the ballot because they didn't like him in Boston. Boston writers.
That is true. And Ted was very, he was not written well about as well as he should have been because of that.
In fact, he was hammered in Boston. There's a breaking ball for strike.
Colonel Egan was the guy that really hammered him all throughout his career. And even though Ted was a great contributor to the Jimmy Fund, which is a wonderful charity
to fight cancer for children in the Boston area, or really all throughout the country. They have some great hospitals up there because of that Jimmy Fund, raising money. Foul out of play. Tommy Holmes, who works for the Mets, was instrumental in the starting of the Jimmy Fund. He was a big star with the Boston Braves.
He was an outfielder with the Boston Braves, and at one time held the National League record for the most games with at least 1 base hit.
He still holds a record.
No, he was beaten by Pete Rose.
No, he still holds a record for home run. A guy who led the league in home runs and struck out
the fewest times.
Yeah.
I think he struck out like 12 times, something like that.
I believe he had 28 home runs that year.
That was 1945.
1 and 2 on Terry Jones. So personalities will be taken into consideration. So you think of how good Barry Bonds has to be to win 3 MVP awards. Because he never got that certificate from the Dale Carnegie course.
Never graduated, huh?
Ever. 2-2 pitch. Up the middle. Grant Roberts' glove comes off his hand. That's an interesting thing, as the throw to first is made. Now Grant Roberts, his glove hits his ball. You got a problem.
Good range here.
Thrown glove?
Well, it was by him, so it really wasn't a thrown glove. But if he hits that ball with a glove, it's a problem. It's a 3-base hit.
Yeah. McEwing making that play up the middle. That's a nice play by McEwing. Now, if it's a 3-base hit, Ralph, if you throw your glove at the ball, I thought about this now, as Wilton Guerrero steps in. If you're in the outfield, you're chasing a ball and it's going to go over the fence, and you know it's going over the fence, but it's going to be questionable. And you're in the outfield, and all of a sudden you trip and a glove accidentally flies off your hand, hits the ball, and keeps it in the field of play. What happens?
It's a 3-base hit.
Did you ever try it as an outfielder?
I've thought about it.
I'll tell you, it's an interesting scenario. I got to believe the umpire will hold you accountable for bringing the ball back in by throwing your glove. It's got to be very close to not going over the fence when you throw your glove at it.
I never have seen it happen, but you think about it. Ball's going out of the ballpark, but why not take the glove and throw it up and try and keep it in the park? But it happens too fast.
1 ball, but you can think about it. 1 ball and 2 strikes in Guerrero. Swung on and missed. That'll do it for Guerrero and the Expos. Grant Roberts has been impressive. We go to the bottom of the 6th inning. The Mets have a 1-run lead. Well, now let's take a look at Mr. Met and our 2 game summary, Ralph.
De La Rosa For Montreal, RBI single in the second inning. Bordick has driven in 2 runs with 2 singles. And Roberts has done an outstanding job on the mound. 4 innings of work, 1 hit, 4 Ks. Peyton, New York with a double, and he has scored 2 times.
And by the way, Karen Durley from Lake Grove, New York. This could be your inning. You might meet Mr. Matt if you see a home run here in the 6th inning. You're a lucky fan. This means that if the Mets hit a home run this inning, you will be our Coors Light Silver Bullet 6 winner and win a Coors Light hat and a Fox Sports Net t-shirt. Stay tuned for more contest details. So Matt Franco will be the batter. Mota's first pitch is a strike. You know, Ralph, getting back to that scenario I talked about, our producer Mike Santini made a point, and it's not something that you, outfielder, would think about as the ball's in flight. You would think about it beforehand and say, you know, if it's close, I'm going to try this to see if the umpire rules that I threw my glove at.
What if the ball sticks in the glove and comes down and you catch it before it hits the ground?
Now you're out. Now you get an argument. Imagine arguing at that point.
Of course, the one time we saw it right here when Keith Hernandez hit the line drive back to the middle and the pitcher caught the ball, couldn't get it out of his glove, and threw the glove with the ball in it to first base for the out.
Terry Mulholland did it that night. He was with the Giants. This is fouled out of play.
And El Duque did it with the Yankees.
The gloves they use when you played, there's no way they could.
Couldn't happen, no.
Did they have weapons?
Had weapons, yeah.
Not much.
No.
1-2 on Matt Franco. There's a fly ball left center field. Bergeron going over and catches it in left field. And the Mets are swinging for a world championship, and MSG is the only place to get the full scoop on their postseason run. Now for the 2nd straight year, Mets fans can follow their team's postseason journey with extensive post-game coverage and highlights immediately following all Mets playoff games. Tune into MSG Network for the Jeep Mets post-game report. So we're looking forward to bringing you all the news after the game out there at Pac Bell Ballpark. 0-1 on Todd Zeile. Zeile will be counted upon heavily for that postseason play. Whoa! That ball was tattooed back here, Ralph. It almost came in the boat.
It almost did.
You know what amazes me is there are fans who, when the ball's hit, a line bullet, they stop it with their bare hand.
That's right.
0-2 on Todd Zeile.
They weren't ball players. Ball players duck and run.
You got that. I'll never forget my first year in the broadcast booth. I went down after the 8th inning to do a post-game show. Goose Gossage was pitching. And there's strike 3 to Todd Zeile, 2 down. And there was left-hand hitter up, and I was sitting by the third base dugout, and I realized there's a good chance that left-hander's not going to get that batter on. Todd Zeile arguing right now with Angel Hernandez.
Well, the pitch looked inside, a fastball. You say no?
Not a bad pitch.
Well, like all those catchers, he framed the ball toward the plate, got the call.
So Todd Zeile, who once was a catcher, realizes there was some framing going on. 1-0 on Darrell Hamilton.
No question he was framed.
He was framed, and now he's in the dugout, and he's not happy. Two balls and no strikes. Fall baseball in New York. Outside 3-0. The Mets will take on the Giants here next Saturday and Sunday. This place will be rocking once again. There's a strike.
One of my great thrills was back in 1947. That led the league in home runs for 51, tied with Mize that year. And Hank Greenberg, a teammate, invited me to come to New York to go to the World Series. And I came to New York, stayed in his apartment, luxurious apartment on Park Avenue. Went to the World Series at Yankee Stadium and then later on at Ebbets Field in a limousine with Greenberg. Went to all the top nightclubs, and that was it. Boy, you talk about a thrill. I was living.
Stay with us. We can come back. I'm going to find out who Ralph was with in those nightclubs. But that's strike 3. Mets go down. We go to the 7th. It's 2-1 New York. Well, back here at Shea Stadium, big crowd on hand. Final game of the regular season. Now it's time for our Delta Airlines schedule. And you know where they'll be. The Mets and the Giants, game 1 and 2 at San Francisco, Wednesday and Thursday. 4 p.m. start, West Coast time. 8 p.m. West Coast time. Games 3 and 4 right here at Shea. This joint will be rocking. And Saturday and Sunday, game 4 if necessary. You see if necessary, game 5. So it's 4 p.m. and 8 p.m. Those are the times on the West Coast. I mentioned how prior to going to against the Pirates, that's a team I was on, you would know. We got beat by the Pirates in the playoffs. So it's all brand new. It's a new book. Everything's been erased.
Fernando Seganol hits one in the air, deep left field. Agbayani going back. He's at the wall, and this game is tied. A pinch hit home run for Fernando Seganol against Dennis Cook, and it's a 2-2 tie. So Seganol batting for Guillermo Mota. And although that fan's got a souvenir, it takes a chance for Grant Roberts to win his first Major League game away.
Well, Grant Roberts has been pitching very well. Seganol, big, strong, switch hitter. And Grant Roberts pitched very well. I think that's more important than anything for Roberts, as Seganol goes out and almost one-hands this ball over the left field fence. What will the Expos do with him? They don't have a position for him to play.
No balls, 1 strike to Michael Barrett. Seganol hit pretty well for them over the second half of this season.
They're going to have to find a position for him. He broke in with the Yankees. He ended up with the Expos in a trade.
They could trade the injured Lee Stevens, too, if they wanted to make room for Seganol. 1 ball, 1 strike to Barrett. Stevens hit over 20 homers, 22 homers, 75 ribs, before he went out with a hand injury. And Seganol having a real impressive second half, and particularly as he just was as a right-hand batter. He's a switch hitter, hitting .350 though from the right side. 1-2 now on Barrett, who's batting for Schneider. So your scorecard at home looking every bit like the spring training scorecard that you probably kept back in March. Miserable year it's been for Michael Barrett. Actually spent some time in the minor leagues. Chance to win either the third base or the catching job coming out of spring training, and that strikeout an example of how poorly things have gone for him this season. Dennis Cook throws a home run ball. This game is tied. Now that's 3:01 Eastern.
One mistake.
12:01 Pacific.
Every inning.
2:01 Central. Baseball is brought to you by Amtrak. For reservations and information, call 1-800-USA-RAIL. Last of the 7th, crowd's been on their feet for the 7th inning stretch in this final game of the regular season. A 2-2 tie after that home run by Seganol. The Mets, there's Jim Beattie and Jeffrey Loria. Just points of the crowd.
Big Jim Beattie out of Dartmouth College, an outstanding pitcher for the Big Green. Played with the Yankees. He ended up playing for the Mariners and entered their front office, became farm director.
There, let's see. Can I do a little telestrating on this last day? Let's see. Here's Mr. Beattie right there.
Nice job.
Thank you. And this is Jeffrey Loria. That's the owner of the Montreal Expos. And from all indications, Mr. Loria has told Monsieur Alou that he will be back after all next year.
Well, if they're going to stay in Montreal, a Lou doesn't draw anybody. Obviously, nobody draws anybody up there, but he's popular when he leaves the ballpark.
So a 2-2 tie. That's Mike Johnson, the new pitcher for the Montreal Expos, facing Joe McEwing. Michael Barrett stayed in behind the plate. And McEwing fouls one off. No balls, 2 strikes.
McEwing made his mark against Randy Johnson numerous times this year. 3 extra base hits.
Naturally, his first major league hit came against Randy Johnson as a member of the St. Louis Cardinals.
Big thing he wants to do is keep it a secret. Don't let Randy Johnson know about that.
I think Randy's probably heard about it enough for his liking by now anyway. But people talk to him about that all the time, at least when the name Joe McEwing comes up.
You don't want the big unit getting excited.
No balls, 2 strikes on McEwing.
You don't want him to throw at you.
And the 0-2.
Whoa, like that. The big unit would throw at Joe McEwing. The only thing is when the big unit throws, he throws the ball up there about 100 miles an hour.
This fella's a true blue Expo in the sense that he is Canadian. Edmonton, Alberta, home of the Oilers. And the 1-2. Breaking ball. McEwing protecting at all costs. Fouls it away. So Super Joe hanging in. As far as the roster is concerned, the Mets will continue to hold internal discussions about who fits where, but they are not required to submit their eligibility list until 10 in the morning. That is Pacific time, by the way, on Wednesday. Another foul ball by McEwing. Teams have until 10 o'clock in the morning local time where they're playing that first playoff game to actually hand in their roster and say, here's our 25. So Bobby has until 1 p.m. Eastern time on Wednesday. Benny Agbayani seated next to Bobby certainly didn't hurt himself today, going very hard and well down the line and over to the left field line. Once running out a ground ball, once pursuing a base hit. 2-2 to McEwing. Although Benny was hitless in 3 at-bats, big test for him was how that hamstring would react. It seemed to do just fine. Two balls, 2 strikes, nobody out. McEwing having a tough at-bat here against Johnson, who misses with a breaking ball. And so Joe's fouled several off. Tough pitches, too, practically reaching into the Mets dugout to get one. Has now run at full, 3 balls, 2 strikes. John Franco getting ready to pitch the 8th.
Well, this has certainly been a tune-up game for the Mets. Bobby Valentine wanted to get some guys some work. He did that.
In the air to center. And Peter Bergeron puts it away, 1 down.
But it was played with intensity, and a good example is when Todd Zeile was called down on strikes, he argued with the home plate umpire, Angel Hernandez. Anytime you go to bat, I don't care where it is, spring training, winter ball, or during the regular Major League season, you're very, very serious.
Bubba Trammell into the game as the pinch hitter now. He bats for Dennis Cook. And a breaking ball on the outside corner. So the only position players available on the bench, as you look at third baseman Jeff Blum guarding the line here. Really, one of them isn't even available, per se. Todd Pratt and Timo Perez. But Perez has a cranky hamstring, and I don't think Bobby Valentine would want to use him today unless, for some reason, it were to become necessary. And Trammell hits the curveball to center. Easy for Bergeron. That's the 2nd out. So Johnson gets the first 2. And now it'll be Benny. Todd Pratt's got that last game of the season look going. Agbayani, as we mentioned a moment ago, nothing out of 3. Couple ground balls to short, one to first. 2-2 the score, each team with 5 hits. Another breaking ball on the outside corner. Mike Johnson throwing a steady diet of curves, sliders, and changeups. Slider there, 1 ball, 1 strike. Benny with 60 runs batted in this year. Some of that, of course, coming from the leadoff spot. 1 ball, 2 strikes now to Agbayani. And a fastball ripped to the gap in left center. Bergeron hustles to cut it off. Benny's going to try it. Here's the throw from Bergeron. Does he hold the bag? Nope. He overslid. But Agbayani is out.
But the good news is he looks healthy with that pulled hamstring going from home to first quickly.
Well, that's a severe test. So Bobby Valentine, I don't know if he's happy that Benny tried it or not, given that hamstring. No fear. Not worried about re-injuring it, but he overslid the bag.
Sometimes.
Well, Benny Agbayani still in the ball game, and if Bobby Valentine had any idea at all about removing him, well, remember that Perez has a bad hamstring. Todd Pratt, the other guy left on the bench as a catcher, but
the big thing is he's healthy. That's the key. Here it is here. He gets that ball in the outfield. Watch him run. No limping around the bases. Agbayani going into second base. Now, he oversized the base. He's tagged out, but Bobby Valentine has to be elated that that leg is fine, because I talked to Bobby before the game, and he did question the health of Benny Agbayani, and Benny has proven today that he is completely healthy and ready for the playoffs. Now, by the way, if you're a base runner, I believe I'm correct in this. If you overslide the base and you're tagged out, you scored a single. If you run by the base, you overrun the base, and you're tagged out, it's a double. So, from a selfish point of view, if you're heading for the base, go and stand it up. Because if you go by it, they tag you, it's a double.
Base.
No, it's a double. If you overslide, it's a single. But I'm only kidding. Don't be selfish. You're supposed to slide. Interesting ruling, though. If you overslide it, it's a single. If you run past it and you're tagged out, it's a double, as Bubba Trammell stays in the ball game.
And John Franco takes over the pitching. 4th pitcher used by New York in this game. Tomas De La Rosa, the shortstop, looks at a fastball, 0-1. 2-5-2 for Montreal, 2-6-0 for the Mets. And Franco pitching in what's been his signature inning this season, the 8th. Making the adjustment to the role of setup man for Armando Benitez. Although John has had a couple of opportunities to save games this season. He'll finish with 4 saves. 1 ball, 1 strike here on De La Rosa. One ball, 2 strikes. So you tack 4 on, and John Franco with 420 Major League saves.
And he's done a nice job coming out of the bullpen in the 8th inning this season for the Mets. That's been the formula for success for the Mets, bringing John Franco win in the 8th, and the big fella, Armando Benitez, in the 9th.
Still 1-2. Took Franco a couple of weeks into the season to get comfortable with the concept and finally embrace the idea. It was a bit of an adjustment for him mentally, as well as in terms of the physical aspect of getting up a little earlier and pitching the 8th rather than the 9th. But with Benitez, there was really no choice. And John, after that first couple of weeks, responded very, very well. 1-2 pitch on the way. Got him. De La Rosa down on strikes, 1 down.
Franco, at 40 years old, still throws the ball hard. Still has a good fastball. He's never been overpowering. But he'll set up a hitter with off-speed stuff, make hitters chase the ball out of the strike zone. And then when they least expect it, he'll bust him in with a fastball. And when that happens, after looking at his changeup, the fastball looks like it's 150 miles an hour.
Race Coco, that takes a fastball outside. 1 ball, no strikes. 1-1 to Coquelet. And the 1-1 from Franco. And Coquelet out in front. 1 ball, 2 strikes. John Franco, the 4th pitcher used by Bobby Valentine. Rick Reed started and just threw 2 innings, giving up 3 hits and a run, and that was all by design. So a little tune-up work. He'll start Game 3 of the division series against the Giants here next Saturday. In case you just joined us, Bobby Valentine made it official earlier today. Mike Hampton pitches the opener at Pac Bell.
Must have been a tough decision for Bobby Valentine. Got 2 fine left-handers, both of them aces on the staff.
Coquelet is down on strikes, 2 away. Al Leiter coming off a mild case of the flu. Bad head cold's been running around the Mets for the last couple of weeks. Stopping at various lockers. Well, Al's pretty much all set to go now. He'll get Game 2. And again, when you consider the Giants have had a losing record this year against left-handers, nothing's been made official past Leiter in Game 2. You've got to figure Reed Game 3. Then what happens Game 4? Well, Glendon Rush is a possibility. And if that's the case, then you know they come back in all likelihood with Hampton for a potential Game 5. That would give the Mets 4 left-handed starters going against the Giants over the 5 possible games of the division series. 0-1 to Bergeron. Of course, Al Leiter has pitched money games before, not only last year against Cincinnati. He started Game 7 of the World Series for the Marlins in '97. And they beat the Cleveland Indians. 0-2 to Bergeron. And again, the Mets are either going to go in with 93, which is what they have now, or 94 if they win this, for a final regular season win total. The 0-2 on the way. And Bergeron just holds off. Franco turned 40 years old on the last road trip with a 1-2 pitch. Outside, 2-2. Remember Rafael Landistoi, who was briefly a coach with the New York Mets? Well, Landistoi was the man who went from the Cincinnati Reds to the Los Angeles Dodgers organization when John Franco became a Cincinnati Red, team with whom he broke in 1984. 2-2 on the way. In there for a called strike 3. Franco has struck out the side on an afternoon when you've needed a pencil to get all the changes on the batting order and the scorecard for both teams. They've been changing them up all afternoon, and as we go to the last of the 8th, this one's even at 2.
East 54th Manhattan.
Last of the 8th inning. It's been Fan Appreciation Day here at Shea Stadium. All the fans showing up, and we have a sizable crowd, which will put the Mets right about 2.8 million in paid attendance this year, picking up posters and making some of their own. And as we go to the last of the 8th inning, Todd Pratt will bat for John Franco, and he takes a strike from Johnson. Fouled away. Pratt has 1 pinch hit for the Mets this year in 12 at-bats. And that 1 pinch hit wound up clearing the bases, delivering 4 runs. So he hasn't been used much as a pinch hitter. That was the idea behind getting Vance Wilson up here most of September. Give Pratt more of an opportunity to pinch hit. Upstairs, 1-2.
Oh, we're going to flash back and bang at Dodger Stadium, May 30th. Todd Pratt goes deep. Grand slam home run for Pratt.
Slowly hit. Thrown out by Coquelet. 1 away. So 1 out, and that'll bring up the shortstop, Jorge Valendia.
How about our play of the year? It was an offensive play And it was a wild night. And the catcher for the Mets, Mike Piazza, was involved. You do it after the batter.
And a strike to Valandia.
We're told from the truck.
I thought you were producing for a minute.
No. Just listen to Mike Santini. He said we'll do it after the batter.
0-2 now on Jorge Valandia. I've been impressed with your versatility up here these last few days. You've been doing some directing.
Well, no. I got to explain it. Our crew does an excellent job. And past couple nights on Fox Sports Net, we had some audio difficulty. Really not difficulty. We were hearing the truck when they would give out, instructions to the crew. And we would repeat them up here. But it was,
what do you mean we? Don't drag me into this.
A font, camera 1, take 1. It sounded great. Keep it brief. We're going to get to the Piazza moment in a second. We're told for the truck. You see what we have to listen to all day up here? Here's the Piazza moment, we're told. And this here is our play of the year. Mike Piazza, home run against the Braves in a 10-run inning. And this place went absolutely insane. What a year Piazza has had.
Only the second 10-run inning in the history of the New York Mets. Vance Wilson, just 0 for 2 as a hitter this year. Took over the catching for Piazza in the 6th inning. And the 0-1 from Johnson to the shortstop, De La Rosa. And the side retired. So the Mets go in order here in the 8th inning. And at the end of 8 in the season finale here at Shea, regular season that is, the Expos and the Mets all even 2-2.
There were shootings, there was stabbing, prostitution was a block.
Well, it started off this afternoon. Rick Reed tuning up for the playoffs with the strikeout. How about this for a tune-up? Jay Payton, strong throw, out at the plate. Payton showing everybody he's healthy. Grant Roberts came in, looked very impressive. He won't be involved in the decision. Mike Porter had a couple blows in today's ball game. Fernando Seganol with the home run off Dennis Cook. Because of that home run, we're all tied at 2 in our GM game summary. Mets 2, Expos 2. De La Rosa, an RBI single. Porter 2 for 2, 2 singles, 2 RBIs. Grant Roberts looked very impressive. And Fernando Seganol, a solo home run in the 7th inning for the Montreal Expos. And we're all tied at 2. And we have a new pitcher for the New York Mets. It's Bobby Jones, number 21. And Bobby Jones has appeared in 10 ball games. He's 0-1 in the season. No saves, 4.58 ERA. 18 strikeouts in 19 and 2/3 innings. And since being recalled from AAA, he's been impressive. Think back to his history with the Mets. He was picked up from the Rockies and was going to fight for that 5th slot on the Met Ball Club. Before the season was out, he had a verbal altercation with manager Bobby Valentine, but all sins are forgiven as Terry Jones drops it down. And Jones, what a bullet to first base. And McEwing, the third baseman, had to get down. So Bobby Jones aggressively picking up. What's this? The ball is bunted. And Bobby Jones goes over. Now watch McEwing. He tried to get in the ball. He got in the way. And a bullet to first base. I think Bobby Jones allowed anybody to get in his way. McEwing wisely getting down. That'll bring up Wilton Guerrero. McEwing goes, whew. So Guerrero batting .267 with 23 RBIs this year. This is Wilton. Vladimir did not play today. Foul out of play. 1 ball and 1 strike on Wilton Guerrero. Autumn day in New York. Here's the 1-1 pitch. There's a fly ball, left field. Big Denny. He's got it. 2 down. No questions about that hamstring for Vinny Agbayani. He went from first to home, and the ball hit into left center field. And he did have a double, but unfortunately for Vinny, slid over the base and was tagged out. But he looked good running the bases. Andy Tracy will be the batter here in the top of the 9th inning. We're all tied at 2. Final game of the season, a tune-up for the Mets. This will be it for the Expos. There's a base hit in the center field. Tracy, a left-hander, hanging in there tough on the left-hander Bobby Jones. So Tracy's on first with 2 men out, and the batter will be Jeff Blum. Hope you enjoyed all the action on Fox Sports Net this season. We had a great time bringing you all the action. The staff here was outstanding. The cameramen doing a great job. There's a fly ball to right field. The people in the truck are outstanding. See that? The producer's still talking to me. And that's the final out in the 9th inning. We're all tied at 2 as we go to the bottom of the 9th.
Hey, all these bags are missing their heat wave cores.
What's that?
Andy, we can't deliver hot pizzas without these cores.
The exclusive core in the Domino's Heat Wave bag delivers your pizza hot. It's a fall heat wave at Domino's, where you can get a hot deal every day. Call now and get a large 1-topping pizza and a 2-liter of Coke for $9.99. Domino's, bad Andy, good pizza.
Closed captioning has been brought to you by The Wiz, your ticket to entertainment. And once again, we want to wish everybody the best in the coming off season. We will bring you post-game reports from the playoffs and hopefully the World Series. But Jack Williams, who does a great job up here in the booth when he's working, he's relaxing right now. We don't want to rush Jack back to that camera, but all the crew here. Gene Genevieve's down there at first base.
Matt Franco.
We go to the bottom of the 9th inning, but everybody here, the camera crews are outstanding. Paul Zecca in tape. Kenny Romano in tape. There's Matt Franco. Steps into that batter's box. We also want to thank Victor Gonzalez. He's had an outstanding season in tape. Dave Ioria, just a terrific job. Dave Ioria. Mike Santini, our producer. Vince Scafidi. And there's a broken bat fly ball to right field. Wilton Guerrero's there and makes the grab. So on this... Oh. Kevin Rose in tape. Dave Zachauer. Matt Franco with a broken bat. There's all the camera guys here at Shea Stadium. They'll do a terrific job. There's Bill getting some camera time himself. So Ellie on top out there. We don't miss anything. 2 cameras out there in center field. Kurt Abbott at the plate takes inside. Julie Moses, who grew up and Gene Martin, they do graphics. Julie grew up a big Tug McGraw fan. Joe Kohler out there on camera. Bouncing ball to second base. Guess what? This is the final game of the regular season, and we're going to extra innings, I think. Darrell Hamilton will be the batter with 2 men out.
Number 18, Darrell Hamilton.
Steve Klein, not on tape. He's on the mound. But all kidding aside, I want to thank everybody for the help here at Shea Stadium, the folks that work here at Shea Stadium in the front office and downstairs, on the field. Matt Lissandro, Charlie Beatty, bouncer up the middle. And we're going to extra innings, so stay right there. Darrell Hamilton bouncing out. We're going to go to the 10th inning. We are all tied at 2. we go to the top of the 10th inning here at Shea Stadium. The Expos and the Mets were all tied at 2. The Expos with 6 hits and the Mets with 6. On Wednesday, it all starts over again. A brand new season. The wild card Mets against the Western Division champion San Francisco Giants. And the first pitch to Milton Bradley is a ball. If you would have told somebody back in the 50s who was at the Polo Grounds that someday a team representing New York would play the San Francisco Giants, who used to represent New York in the playoffs in the year 2000, you'd have said you had a great imagination. Here's the 2-0 pitch from Bobby Jones to Milton Bradley, down low. 3 balls and no strikes. By the way, I want to thank some more folks here at Shea, Phil Antonucci and Greg Curry in audio, Greg Bernstein and Jason Loeb, and they're the switchers here, or technical directors, I should say, up high. Milton Bradley walks, so the Expos have a base runner here in the top of the 10th inning. John Campbell and Paul York, Charlie Vanderhoop, everybody so very important here. Anthony Casano here at Shea Stadium, and Jay Osinowski, and the thing is, we have so much support, just unbelievable, and they do a terrific job. Bill Kelsey, Ed Ryan, who makes everything work. In fact, Ed was telling me the other day that he is a genius. Up high. I'm just kidding. Ed is a very nice guy. He never said, Ed, you never said that. 1-0 on Michael Barrett. Jeff Rubin is very important here on our telecast. Here's a 1-0 pitch. There's a ball, 2 balls and no strikes. Of course, our producer Mike Santini, our director John Moore. John McComb up here in the booth, who also told me he was a genius. He told me that today, and he told it to me on Friday. Up high, 3-0. John McComb appeared in the movie On the Waterfront. 3 balls and no strikes. 7 straight balls. It's 3-0, and Bobby Valentine would like to end this ball game on a positive note. So Bobby Jones throws to Barrett, and that's 8 straight balls out of the strike zone. Here comes Dave Wallace to talk to Bobby Jones. So we're in the top of the 10th inning, final game of the regular season. The Mets and the Expos all started back in April. A long haul for the players. So Dave Wallace going out and wanting Bobby Jones to shut him down, get ready for the playoffs, and it opens up Wednesday. It'll be Wednesday and Thursday in San Francisco, Saturday and Sunday back here in New York. Mike Hampton, Al Leiter, Rick Reed. Starts on the West Coast, comes back east, and Shea Stadium will be jumping next weekend. Tomas De La Rosa, the batter, he's 1 for 3 in his ball game. Ball bunted foul. Of course, it's always a delight to work with Ralph Kiner, Patrick Quincy, our production assistant, very important. Keith DeSantis, also very important, working the camera. That's from Mr. Kiner in there. He has not worked the camera yet, but it's always a delight working with Ralph Kiner, traveling the country with Mr. Kiner, and arguing with Mr. Kiner, and never winning the argument. Inside, 1 ball and 1 strike. Of course, Howie Rose, who never argues. Matt Lachlan. Had the pleasure of working with Mr. Thorne this year, Gary Thorne. Once again, we hope, everybody here hopes that you've enjoyed the telecast on Fox Sports Net. And right now, hoping, if you're a Met fan, that the Mets pull this one out. I'll go back to our production people here, Che and J Law. He's in audio. Down low. It's 2-1. Scott Finley, who does a lot of things at Fox Sports Net. A.J. Vidge. Isabel Pereira. All here trying to make this telecast something you enjoy watching. Of course, if you're a Met fan, the big thing is the W. That's popped up. Jones is unable to make the play, and everybody's safe. So the bases are loaded with Expos here in the top of the 10th inning. Oh, my. Once again, that ball was bunted up in the air. Watch Bobby Jones come in, dives for the ball, is unable to make the grab. Hits off Wilson, and everybody is safe. The bases are loaded with Expos. So now it's up to Bobby Jones to pitch out of the jam. Trace Cocolette has been called back to the dugout. Orlando Cabrera will be the batter with the bases loaded. Jerry Tipperary. Also working here at Shea Stadium to make things go well. Cabrera, 13 home runs, 55 RBIs. He's batting .238. Get used to the shadows. You'll see him in the playoffs. Down low to Cabrera. 1-0. Fans getting restless here on Fan Appreciation Day. We're all tied at 2. It's 1-0 on Cabrera. Pops the ball foul and out of play. 1 ball and 1 strike. Derisive applause concerning that strike by the fans here at Shea. Eric Kamak throwing in the bullpen. One ball, 1 strike. Fouled out of play. So it's 1-2 with the infield in. Cabrera fighting with Bobby Jones. Saw the intensity in this game earlier when Todd Zeal struck out, called third strike, and argued with the home plate umpire, Angel Hernandez. So these teams are not going through the motions because it's the last game of the season. Here's the 1-2 pitch. Up high, 2 balls and 2 strikes. Texas will take on Oakland later on tonight, or later on this afternoon. As you look at the score here at Shea in the 10th inning. Seattle at Anaheim later on this afternoon. Cabrera strikes out. Big strikeout for Bobby Jones. Bases are still loaded. Will they drop the infield back into double play depth? Take a look at that last pitch. Cabrera, usually a contact hitter, swinging for the fence. Strikes out. So the infield remains in because Bergeron is a guy who can run. He'll be tough to double up. Kind of a slap hitter. And that's a goal for the out at the plate. There's the strike to Bergeron. A fastball up and in. Jones on deck. So Bergeron 1 for 4, 2 ground outs. And he's singled in this ball game. He's batting .246. It's a bad swing, 0-2, so Bobby Jones way up on the count. Bergeron with 31 RBIs, 25 doubles. He can run. He scored 80 runs this year. The fans into it here in the 10th. They don't care that the season's over. Swung out and missed. Listen to this place. Nothing like a New York baseball game. Nasty breaking ball from Bobby Jones, overmatching the hitter, Peter Bergeron. Fans are on their feet here at Shea Stadium. The batter, Terry Jones, swung on and missed. Keep in mind, this is the final game of the regular season. The Mets have nothing to win. If they do win, it'll be their 94th victory this season. The Expos are going home, and listen to this crowd. How about that? Terry Jones trying to bunt. It's now 0-2. This is like a game in June. You gotta love it. Shea Stadium. The fans on their feet. 0-2 on Terry Jones. Outside. 1 ball and 2 strikes. You don't think there's an edge to New York? Listen to this place. Fly ball. Should be caught. And it is, uncomfortably. So Darrell Hamilton and Bubba Trammell collide. But this place is going wild. The Mets are going to the playoffs, but the Mets fans want to win this ball game. Last game of the regular season, Hamilton making the grab. Expos strand 3. Fail to score. We go to the bottom of the 10th with a tie ball game.
Transmission check today.
Charlie Katara, Joe Mandelbaum working in the truck. We want to thank them for their help this year. Mike Cooney also downstairs in the truck. Mike doing an outstanding job. Vivian Dittman, our stage manager, and Don Tringali. And again, want to thank everybody who made it possible and made our jobs up here in the booth very, very pleasurable, and we hope easy. Now listen to Shea Stadium. This is wild. This is the bottom of the 10th inning. The Mets are going to the playoffs. The Expos are going home, and these fans are into it. So come out here next Saturday. This place be jumping. McEwing bunts. The throw. Got him. So Blum with the throw. Nice play by the third baseman.
Right fielder, number 33.
By the way, I was handed a note after today. 18 weeks to pitchers and catchers. McEwing laying down a pretty good bunt. Blum coming in and making a strong throw. Just gets McEwing at first. Bubba Trammell, the batter, fouls it back with a big cut. Scott Strickland, the pitcher for the Expos, trying to shut down the Mets. Listen to this. Let's go Mets. Bottom of the 10th, down low. 1-1. Usually at the end of the year when everything's locked up, game is played without much intensity, but this is a whole lot different today here at Shea Stadium. By the way, Trammell, 3 home runs, 12 RBIs with the Mets, takes outside. 2-1. On deck, Benny Agbayani. What a story he's been this year. In Japan, he hits a grand slam. He was supposed to be in the minor leagues because of the numbers game. Even after the grand slam, there was a lot of talk about him going to the minor leagues. Outside, 2-1. But Benny stayed with the club. The fans were happy. He has become a fan favorite here in New York. Pat Mahomes throwing in the bullpen. Strickland looking in for the sign. Barrett, the catcher. Here's the 3-1 pitch. There's a strike. Trammell taking. So it's 3-2. Cabrera stays in the game at second base, by the way. He pinched hit last inning. I'm sure he was happy about that. His season was over. He was all set, ready to go home. He's in this baby. Down low, ball 4. Mets have a base runner. So Strickland walks Bubba Trammell here in the 10th. Benny Agbayani will be the batter. Keep in mind, we'll have some postseason chatter from Ralph Kiner on Kiner's Corner. Matt Lockwood will be in the locker room. Agbayani with 15 home runs and 60 RBIs takes off the plate, ball one. Rick White will be the next batter if Agbayani reaches first. The last game of the season has turned out to be a wild one because of the fans here at Shea. They want a W. Outside 2-0. Bobby Valentine wants a W also. Mets will leave tomorrow for San Francisco. They'll practice on Tuesday and then take on the Giants Wednesday and Thursday. Trammell with the lead. The 2-0 pitch. Try to check a swing, but it was called strike, so it's 2-1 on Benny Agbayani. Talked about his story this year. Quite a story. Mets fans have taken to Benny Agbayani as one of their favorites. There's a ground ball to first base. Easy play. On the ground ball, Bubba Trammell moves to second. He was on the move. So, the situation here is Shea Stadium. Bubba Trammell now on second base, and Rick White will be the pinch hitter. How about if he wins the ball game with a base hit? It's the bottom of the 10th. Bobby Valentine going to Rick White. All of a sudden, this place has become quiet. The fans trying to figure out what's cooking. White, the pinch hitter. He's a relief pitcher. I'll tell you, that's respect. Michael Barrett, the catcher, goes out to Strickland, the pitcher. And they talk about Rick White. Rick White's got to feel good about that. But the regular season in with a hit, pitcher getting a hit, not there. Swung on and missed. 0-1. Volandia's on deck. You'll never be able to figure it out. I'm sure Bobby Valentine and Felipe Alou can't figure out those lineup cards now. Rick White chasing a bad ball off the plate, 0-2. It's a different scenario when a pitcher goes up there to hit when you got to hit. Most of the time you're not expected to hit. Although there are good hitters who are pitchers, they just don't get enough at bats to prove it during the course of the season. It's 0-2 on Rick White. Ground ball to the right side. It's not going to be much of a race. Strickland wins. And that'll do it for the Mets. White is out. Bubba Trammell is stranded on second base. Pat Mahomes throwing in the bullpen. We're going to the 11th, and we're tied at 2. Back here at Shea Stadium, the Expos and the Mets are tied at 2. We're going to the top of the 11th inning. Everybody running out of players. Pat Mahomes is in this ball game. Years ago, I was told a story by Norm Sherry, who was a catcher with the Los Angeles Dodgers. It was a game like this, but in spring training. And I'm hoping this story is accurate. If not, it's impressed me. Sandy Koufax, in his wild days when he was young, was on the mound and he was all over the place. So Norm Sherry thought, we're going to be here a long time. So he went out to the mound and he said, look at Sandy, we don't have many guys backing you up. They're going to leave you in this whole game. You got to get the ball over the plate. Why don't you take something off your fastball? He took something off his fastball, and the rest is history. He became one of the most dominating pitchers ever to pitch in Major League Baseball. Wilton Guerrero picks up a base hit. So the Expos, who had the bases loaded in the 10th, have their leadoff man on here in the 11th.
First baseman, number 46, Andy Tracy.
Guerrero with good speed. The batter now will be Andy Tracy. The Mets are thinking ahead, I'm sure. Met fans are thinking about this afternoon. That's what Met fans and players are thinking. 4 o'clock Eastern time, 8 o'clock Eastern time to be correct. Take a look at it again. Wednesday and Thursday. Saturday and Sunday, game 4 if necessary, here in New York. This place will be jumping next weekend as Tracy swings and misses. It's jumping now. The season is really over for the Mets. The regular season for the Mets is over. But Shea Stadium is alive, and the fans are alive and well. Tracy, 2 singles in this game. Wilton Guerrero with the leadoff first, swung on and missed. 0-2. Pat Mahomes in the ball game. And for some players it doesn't mean much, but for other players it means a lot to be impressive in a game like this. As long as you have a manager and the coaches and the general manager and his staff and scouts in the stands, when you go on the field, it's important. And even more important when people are paying to come into this ballpark. They check Wilton Guerrero at first base. He's safe, and it's 0-2 on Andy Tracy. Keep in mind, Kiner's corner coming up immediately following the ball game. And the 0-2 pitch. Line drive, base hit into center field. So the Expos now have runners on first and second with nobody out. And the batter for the Expos would be Jeff Blum. As I mentioned a few moments ago, the Expos had the bases loaded in the 10th. And the Mets got him out. Bobby Jones was the pitcher at the time, left-handed Bobby Jones. Joe McEwing just went in to say something to Pat Mahomes, talking about what to do with a bunted ball. McEwing playing third base. Felipe Alou. He'll be back next year with the Expos. Blum takes a ball. Nice turnout for the final game of the regular season here at Shea Stadium. It was a beautiful autumn day. Autumn in New York. Jeff Blum. Runners on first and second. Blum bunts the ball to Mahomes, who goes for the sure out at first. He thought about third. That's the catcher's call. And I don't believe they would have gotten Guerrero at third base. So Mahomes goes to first. Expos runners move up. They have runners on second and third. Mahomes charging that ball, and for a moment thought about third base, wisely went to first.
Pinch hitting for the Montreal Expos.
Now we got a pinch hit.
Number 56, Talmadge Denari.
Talmadge Denari is the batter, and the Mets are going to walk him. So the bases will be loaded with Expos. Michael Barrett, who's an interesting story for the Expos, is on deck. Nunnery, a pinch hitter, will receive 4 pitches off the plate. But Michael Barrett, a year ago, was the prospect for the Expos. They weren't sure if he would be a star at third base or a star behind the plate. Chris Widger was the everyday catcher. He was signed to a multi-year deal. The Expos and Jim Beattie, their general manager, traded the catcher to Seattle and said to Michael Barrett, bring your mask and your glove, you're going to be our catcher. Chris Widger is in Seattle, so Barrett had a spot. Finally, they had no doubt about his bat. And the problem for Barrett this year was his bat, to the point where he ended up back in the minor leagues. He's batting .215. They were hoping to shut him down for the rest of the year. He had been injured, but he got healthy, and he's back catching. Can you lose that star potential tag in 1 year? We'll see. Barrett fouls off the first pitch. It's 0-1. Of course, the way to end the season for a guy like Michael Barrett would be to pick up a base hit here in a clutch situation. 0-1 on Barrett. Runners on all three bases for the Expos. The 0-1 pitch. Hard hit ball, foul. Looks like Barrett broke his bat. Probably hit the ball off the end of the bat. It's 0-2 on Michael Barrett. No balls, 2 strikes. Pat Mahomes, the pitcher. Bases loaded. 0-2 on Barrett. Got him. So Mahomes strikes Barrett out on what looked like a hanging slider. How many players has Bobby Valentine used so far? 25. Take a look at that last pitch. Look, a hanging slider right there, and Barrett swinging right through it. So Barrett had a pitch he could hit. Didn't do it. 25 Met players have been in this ball game. Tomas De La Rosa, the batter, 1-0 on De La Rosa. Expos shortstop with a couple hits in this game and an RBI, and he hits a high fly ball to center field. Hamilton going back, makes the grab. Once again, the Expos strand 3. And Mahomes is wired. The Mets need 1 to win it. We go to the bottom of the 11th. We are all tied at 2. Well, folks, tune to Fox Sports Net every night at 11 for the New York edition of the Regional Sports Report. Home team news, local stories, and regional highlights. Get all your sports info from the only region you care about, yours. The Regional Sports Report comes your way live tonight at 11. Let's go Mets. This place is rocking once again. The playoffs are right around the corner. I'm sure you come out, you see a lot of the former Mets here at the playoffs. I'm sure Tom Seaver will be here. Probably Jerry Koosman. Should be a wild time at Shea Stadium. Met fans waiting for a victory. The wild Mets. They enter the playoffs representing the wild card. Mike Piazza, a little bit shorter, but staying in the stands. He said, I'll watch the game from the stands. Oh, God. He was the Fox Sports Net Player of the Year. Our congratulations to Mike Piazza. The new pitcher is Powell as he faces Valandia. Valandia leading off here. Whoa, at the bottom of the 11th inning. And Jeremy Powell missed up high and inside with the breaking ball. You see his numbers. 17 strikeouts in 24 innings. It's 1-1 on Valandia. Up high, 2 balls and 1 strike. Vance Wilson will foul. Bottom of the 11th inning. Up high, ball 3. 3-1 on Valandia. There's Wilson. One time a big prospect in the Mets organization and got hurt. Here's the 3-1 pitch. Popped up. And it will drift out of play. So a full count on Valandia. Mets baseball on Fox Sports Net. Stay tuned for Ralph Kiner's Corner. Comes to you right after the ball game today. Here's a 3-2 pitch. There's a line drive at Blum at third base. So Valandia hits the ball hard, but comes up empty. So Vance Wilson will be the bat. His first at bat, grounded out. We're all tied at 2. The Expos and the Mets. Breaking ball misses down low. Jeff Blum expecting Vance Wilson to hammer the ball right down the line. Might be a little bit too close to the line. If he dives, he's in foul territory. Down low. 2 balls and no strikes. Want to take that extra base hit away from Wilson. Blum is hovering around the line. Wilson will be followed by Matt Franco. Here's a 2-0 pitch. Down low, ball 3. Mets need a base runner. The Mets coming into today's action, 93 victories on the season. There's Matt Franco. Fastball for a strike. 3 balls and 1 strike on Wilson. The Giants with 96 wins, the most wins in the National League coming into today's action. Atlanta with 95. St. Louis 94. Did he? Yes, he did. Wilson's body language, it was almost like he was saying, call it a strike. I went around, call it a strike. Three balls and 2 strikes on Wilson. Strike 3, a 3-2 breaking ball. That's not fair.
Number 15.
So Wilson strikes out on a 3-2 walk from Jeremy Powell. We'll take a look at that baby again. And it's once again 3-2 breaking ball. Whoop. When you're hitting and you're taking that pitch, you're hoping the home plate umpire calls it a ball. 2 men are out. Matt Franco's the batter. He takes down low. Ball 1. The Expos have 9 hits. Mets with 6. Vance Wilson saying, are you kidding? A 3-2 breaking ball in the 11th inning with 1 out and nobody on? Franco pulls it foul. Mookie Wilson unable to make the play. Talking about Mookie's stepson, Preston Wilson, earlier in the ball game, having a super season with the Florida Marlins. They don't want him to break the all-time strikeout record, so they're resting him today, and probably a good idea, but he's in the 30-30 club, 30 home runs, 30 stolen bases this year for the Marlins. Breaking ball misses down low, 2-1 on Matt Franco. And the 2-1 pitch misses off the plate. 3 balls and 1 strike. Mets need a base runner. 11th inning. Tied at 2. Last pitch, an 89-mile-per-hour fastball. And a 3-1 pitch to Franco. Fouled off. 3-2. If Franco reaches base, he'll be followed by Kurt Abbott. Talked about the best record in the National League, the San Francisco Giants, the most wins, I should say. In the American League, the White Sox had the most wins. That might be the biggest surprise in all of baseball this year with 95 wins. Oakland with 90, Yankees with 87. There's a looper down the left field line. Base hit. Franco will try for, whoa! He puts on the brakes and goes back to first. So Matt Franco picks up a base hit into left field.
Number 20.
The Mets have a base runner. We'll take a look at it again. He loops the ball into left field. And it stays fair by a few feet. Franco took a wide turn at first base, but then retreated. So Franco representing the winning run on first. 2 men are gone. Kurt Abbott is the batter. He takes that breaking ball off the plate. Abbott has thunder in that bat. When he gets a fastball, he can pop it over the wall. He's got 2 game-winning home runs this year. He's got 6 dingers on the season, 12 RBIs. Good fastball hitter. Down low, 2-0. For a moment, Michael Barrett wasn't sure where the ball was. What an uncomfortable feeling for a catcher. You got a runner on the base, and the ball's in the dirt. 90% of the time when you block it, you know where it is. Sometimes you don't. In that case, for a moment, Barrett wasn't sure. 2-0 on Abbott. Franco with the lead. They check him. Bobby Valentine hoping for a win. More importantly, hoping he doesn't run out of players. He's used 25. 2-0 pitch. And there is a fly ball left center field. Can't get it. It falls in. Here comes Franco. They're waving him in. They'll throw to the plate. Got him. Cookie Rojas waving him in, and they threw him out by a country mile. They get Franco. That's the final out of the bottom of the 11th. The last regular season game for the Mets and the Expos. We're all tied at 2, and we'll be back. Well, the 2 principals, when the inning ended, Matt Franco, here he comes around third base. Cookie Rojas telling him to go, go, go. De La Rosa's throw beat him by a mile. And the first pitch to Orlando Cabrera is a called strike. Michael Barrett making a grab. Matt Franco, if he was still in the baseline, he was just in the baseline. Outside to Cabrera, 1 ball, 1 strike. Barrett with the did he tag him? I guess he did. He said I did. Angel Hernandez said he did. That's all that matters. It's 1-1 on Cabrera. He hits a high fly ball down the left field line in foul territory and out of play. So it's 1-2 on Orlando Cabrera, who was calmly sitting probably in the Expo clubhouse. Felipe Alou called for him, and out he came, and he ended up in a ball game late in the game. Foul tips that ball into Wilson's glove, 1 down. A lot of funny things can happen late in the season when they don't think they're going to use. When a player doesn't think he's going to be used, he could be in a clubhouse relaxing, waiting to go home. The Expo season is over after this game. Then the call comes. Your heart has to start pumping quickly to get yourself ready. As Peter Bergeron steps in and takes outside ball 1, 1-0. Sometimes they can't find the player. I've seen times when players at the end of the season were showered and dressed when the manager needed them. Fouled out of play. A lot more discipline now because of the coaching staff and the managers. I heard a story one time that a manager looked for a relief pitcher. He was a short man in the bullpen. He decided in the middle of the game to leave and go to dinner. Look at how many people, how many players Bobby Valentine used. Here's the 1-1 pitch. Swung on and missed. In the middle of the game, the relief pitcher was a short man, figured I won't be in the game, so I'm going to sneak out here. I'm going to get dressed and leave. He left. He was in Pittsburgh up in a restaurant watching. He could see the lights at Three Rivers Stadium. Here's the 1-2 pitch. 2-2. And he realized the lights are on for an awful long time. I thought the game would be over, so he got up from his table, went over and called the clubhouse. Got one of his teammates on the phone. They said, "Where are you?" He said, "I'm having dinner." He said the manager's looking for him. Needless to say, he was fined heavily for dinner. 2-2 on Peter Bergeron. But today, you can't do it. Coaches are on top of things. They have coaches in the bullpen. At one time, they didn't have coaches in the bullpen. A lot of things went on down the bullpen. But Al Jackson runs a tight ship here with the Mets. Here's a 2-2 pitch. Fouled out of play. 2 balls, 2 strikes on Peter Bergeron. That's not Al Jackson, the bullpen. Al's down there, though. I bet Al has some great stories when he played about things that happened in the bullpen. And now, he's the disciplinarian. Here's a 2-2 pitch. Swung on and missed. Bergeron goes down. Mahomes is cruising.
Left fielder number 1, Terry Jones.
So 2 minutes gone. The batter will be Terry Jones. Jones is batting .251. He scored 30 runs this year for the Expos. 12th inning. Strike to Jones. 12th inning at Shea Stadium in Flushing, New York. Breaking ball down low, 1-1. Mets waiting to jump on a plane tomorrow, and off they go to San Francisco. They'll work out on Tuesday, and it all begins anew on Wednesday. Wednesday and Thursday in San Francisco. There's the ball. 2-1. So the results are in. Todd Helton will lead the National League in hitting. There's a strike. 2-2. Home runs. Coming into today's action, Sammy Sosa with 50. Barry Bonds with 49. Jeff Bagwell with 47. Runs batted in. Todd Helton should win with 144. Outside. Full count on Terry Jones. Should be quite a battle for the most valuable player award here in the National League. But Mahomes is worried about just one thing, and he gets it. Terry Jones goes down swinging. That'll do it for the Expos here in the 12th. A lot of fans still here at Shea Stadium. Another look at that pitch. We're all tied at 2. Well, folks, later tonight, keep informed on the entire world of sports with the Keith Olbermann Evening News tonight at 10 p.m. on Fox Sports Net. When Keith Olbermann was a young man trying to make a name for himself, he used to write the bios on baseball cards. I don't remember the card company. I don't think it's any longer with us, but he's quite a knowledge of the history and facts of baseball as Darrell Hamilton steps in and takes a strike. It's 0-1 on Hamilton. He was on deck when Matt Franco was thrown out at the plate on a ball hit off the bat of Kurt Abbott. Cookie Rojas wanted to get this baby over with. And there's a high fly ball deep right field, but Guerrero's got room and he makes the grab. Wilton Guerrero, that is. Vladimir Guerrero took the day off. You want to talk about some numbers. Vladimir Guerrero, what a year he's had. He batted .345. He hit 44 home runs. He drove in 123 runs. Multi-hit games, he had 58 of them. Hits, 197. So that really is surprising. Vladimir Guerrero could have picked up 3 hits today and got to the 200-hit plateau. Vidro's at 200. But Guerrero took the last day off. But Guerrero had an unbelievable season. 1-0 and Joe McEwing. Triples. Vladimir Guerrero was second with 11. There's a strike. 1 ball and 1 strike to Joe McEwing. If Vladimir Guerrero played in a market that drew anybody to the ballpark and had some coverage, I mean, he did it without radio and television coverage, English-speaking coverage, that is. But if he, imagine Guerrero playing in New York, Chicago, Los Angeles with those numbers, fouled out of play. Strikes on Joe McEwing. Bubba Trammell on deck, 1 man out. It's the 12th inning. McEwing, it's ground ball to third. Blum's there. Across the infield it goes. 2 down. So it's 2 men are out, and the batter will be Bubba Trammell. Round and round we go. Longest game ever played, I believe, 26 innings. And the pitchers that started for those respective teams finished what they started, which is hard to believe. 1-0 on Bubba Trammell. Mike Bordick was in the game. He's out of the game. And the 1-0 pitch to Trammell is a strike. 1 ball and 1 strike. Stay with us. We got Ralph Kiner, Howie Rose coming up later on, and Darrell Hamilton just missed hitting the ball out. Matt Lachlan will be in a clubhouse, reporting back to Kiner's corner. It's now 1 ball and 2 strikes on Bubba Trammell. Swung on and missed, strike 3. The throw to first. That will do it for the Mets here in the bottom of the 12th inning. After 12 complete, the final regular season game for both teams were all tied at 2. Great skyline of Manhattan. And a reminder that Kiner's Corner is coming up following the ball game. It says join whimsical Hall of Famer Ralph Kiner. But we're going to say intellectual Hall of Famer Ralph Kiner, as he hosts the post-game show full of highlights, analysis, and a special guest is always bound to stop by if they're not too tired, because we are now in the 13th inning. So watch Kiner's Corner, presented by Jeep, right after this ball game. Ralph Kiner and Howie Rose will be downstairs, and Matt Lachlan will be in the clubhouse. It's 1-1 now on Wilton Guerrero. Well, you've gone this far, you might as well win this baby. I'm sure both clubs feel the same way. If the Mets win, it'll be win number 94 on the season. Fouled back off the bat of Wilton Guerrero. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Wilton Guerrero was a big prospect with the Los Angeles Dodgers. This year he batted .268, had 2 home runs and 23 RBIs with the Expos. 1-2 pitch, fouled off. When the Dodgers traded him away, they said he didn't have good baseball instincts. That's how they justified the trade. Kretzlonic going to the Dodgers. Here's the 1-2 pitch. Bounce to first. Matt Franco takes himself, 1 out. So 1 man down here in the 13th. And that will bring to the plate Andy Tracy. Tracy with 11 home runs this year. Mahomes' first pitch to Tracy, off the plate, ball 1. Tracy will be followed by Jeff Blum. There's a high fly ball to center field. Darrell Hamilton facing the sun, or fighting the sun, I should say, makes the grab. 2 down. The Expos coming into today's action, 67-94. They are in 4th place. The Expos finished 28 games out of first place, and it's been a terrible season at the gate up there in Montreal. And on the field, they have some good talent. 1-0 pitch outside, 2-0. It shouldn't be difficult to get up for a major league game when it means your career, but if it is difficult, it would be difficult at Olympic Stadium in Montreal. 2 balls and 1 strike on Jeff Blum. 2 men are out here in the 13th inning. Blum takes off the plate outside. 3-1. In this extra inning ball game, twice during the extra innings, the Expos left the bases loaded. Fouled off. 3 balls and 2 strikes on Jeff Blum. So full count on Blum. And the 3-2 pitch. Fly ball right field. Trammell coming in and makes the grab for out number 3. So Mahomes sets him down with the help of Trammell. We go to the bottom of the 13th inning here at Shea Stadium. The Expos and the Mets are all tied at 2. Well, folks, the Mets are swinging for a world championship. And MSG is the only place to get the full scoop on their postseason run. Now for the 2nd straight year, Mets fans can follow their team's postseason journey with extensive post-game coverage and highlights immediately following all Met playoff games. Tune to MSG Network for the Jeep Mets post-game report. We need balls. We need new baseballs. As Benny Agbayani pops the ball up in the air down the left field line and out of play. Baseballs, baseballs, and more baseballs. Gave the statistic early in the year. Charlie Samuel, the clubhouse manager for the New York Mets, told me from day 1 in spring training to the end of the year, the Mets used 36,000 baseballs. Fouled out of play. So it's 0-2 on Benny Agbayani. 36,000 baseballs. Of course, they give a lot of baseballs away. Plus, a lot more baseballs are hit over the fence in batting practice today than ever before. There's Pat Mahomes inside to Agbayani. 1 ball and 2 strikes. And once again, a breaking ball over the head of Agbayani. 1-2 on the Met left fielder. Breaking ball misses down low. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Powell against Agbayani. Ground ball foul. Blum is playing at that line so close that he made a movement for that ball, and that ball was way foul. In fact, he has a good chance of getting a foul ball. That's way down. That's way off that line. Breaking ball up high. 3 balls and 2 strikes. Pat Mahomes on deck. If you just tuned in, you're watching a regular season game live. Mets and the Expos. Fouled off. 13th inning. It's all tied at 2. Bobby Valentine has used 25 players. Bobby in good spirits before the ball game. Agbayani takes up high. Ball 4. So the Mets have what could be the winning run at first base. Felipe Alou looks at the lineup card and doesn't understand it. Yeah, that's a neat scorecard right there. When you're out of the game with Felipe Alou, you're a forgotten man. They do it in black. So you can be remembered here. You know, take a look. You remember somebody that's been in a game. But the black, that means you're in history. It's all tied at 2 now. Number 6. We got a few guys batting number 6 for the Expos. Mahomes squares and bunts the first pitch foul. So it's 0-1 on Pat Mahomes. Valandia on deck. Again, a reminder, Ralph Kiner's Corner will follow the game today. Final one of the season. Ralph Kiner, the only man in the history of baseball to hit 3 home runs in 3 consecutive All-Star games. And the 0-1 pitch. Pop foul and out of play. You don't think that Benny would be on the move coming off of the strained Achilles tendon. I know Bobby Valentine talked about that before the game and said that he was somewhat concerned about the health of Benny Agbayani, but Benny looked good today. Hit a ball into left center field, tried to stretch it into a double, was initially safe but overslid the base. And the 0-2 pitch, breaking ball, bouncer, base hit. So the Mets have runners on first and second with nobody out in the bottom of the 13th inning. That overspin, the high hop, Blum can't get it. De La Rosa gets his glove on it, knocks it down. But Mahomes is on first. Agbayani's on second. Valandia will be the batter. And these fans are still in this ball game. Bobby Valentine hoping for a victory right now. These guys are ready to go to the West Coast. They're going to the playoffs. It'll be the Mets against the Giants Wednesday afternoon in San Francisco and Thursday night in the city by the bay. Then back here Saturday and Sunday at Shea. Valandia squares the bunt and he bunts up beauty. They got a ball. How about that? Here comes Agbayani. And the Mets win it on an error. How about that? Wow. Listen to these fans at Shea. The fans appreciating baseball on Fan Appreciation Day at Shea Stadium. So it took the Mets 13, but they won. And for the Mets, they pick up their 94th victory on the year. They finished the 2000 season with a 94-68 record. The fans go wild at Shea, and that play there is our Coors Light play of the game. The bunted ball off the bat of Valandia with runners on first and second. How about Blum? The high throw to De La Rosa. The ball goes into left field. Agbayani gets up, and he comes in to score the winning run. Once again, our Coors Light play of the game. Benny Agbayani's strained Achilles tendon has passed the test. He's ready and he's able to go to San Francisco. The Mets win the final regular season game here at Shea Stadium. Final score, Mets 3, Montreal 2, and we'll be back in just a moment. Wow. Well, final score, 3-2. Don't believe that. If that's the final score, we're all in trouble. But the Mets beat the Expos 3-2, and stay tuned for Kiner's Corner. Ralph Kiner will have a special guest. He'll have highlights of the game. Were there highlights? Well, John Stearns made the call. Jay Payton showed everybody. My arm is okay. It was a wild afternoon here at Shea Stadium. It started at 1 o'clock and ended at 4:47. Base hit by Mike Bordick. He had a couple of blows in this ball game. Expos tried hard. Payton chasing down a fly ball, showing everybody he is healthy and ready to help all pitchers. Agbayani, he's healthy. And the Mets, with Agbayani showing again that he's healthy, he scored the winning run. Final 3-2.